Welcome to episode 40 of No Shame on the Big 4-0. I remember us celebrating the 10, this is pretty cool. It's like over 40 hours of podcasting. And we're getting better at it. But today we had to do something special. We had to bring in a special camera because we have a legit ninja in here. And the only reason you can see him, it's not because of the green couches and I'm blending in. It's because we have a special camera in here. We have Colin Byrne in. Colin, we've been waiting to do this for a while now.
Thanks for having me, Paddy.
Because you're an Irish man, you're living out in Portugal, you're living in all different countries in the world at the moment because you do a lot of travelling with the big lad, I'm sure. But let's make this one about you. We just started a story there. We had about 1 million stories. The podcast before the podcast is what we should do. I think that would be a good one.
Let's do it.
First time I met you, as I was saying there, I think it was up in Rackhill, and the two of us had just bet the shit out of each other. And I remember we were upstairs and we had a conversation. I can remember what colour gloves you had on. You had a pair of blue gloves on. Right? Because they were hitting me, flashing me in the face. Just blue flashing. Right? And I think the two of us are at that now. And it was definitely my fault, I'd say. Because I was still like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, no one got knocked out. It was just, you always go hard. We were upstairs and then we were having a conversation. We were like, you don't have to go hard all the time, mate. You know what I mean? You know? And I was like, oh, you were going hard. I remember saying to you, and you were like, no. And I was saying at the end of the way home, man's a bit of a prick, isn't he?
I think a few people said that. Like, it was just one of those, I think that was like a Thursday in John's and it was a survival night.
That was a survival night.
I think it didn't matter what weight you were. There was 2 lines. There was 10 rounds. First 2 boxing, next 2 kickboxing, and then whatever. And it never got stopped.
No.
It never got like, lads, they're going a little bit too hard. It was never any of that. It just escalated. And it didn't matter who was standing there. And it was, I think, at the time I didn't have a striking coach. The striking coach was turn up on Thursday, do the same bullshit over and over again, and just hopefully not get knocked out. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times we went at it harder than we should have. Really,
I think that was one of them moments. Like, did we just become best friends?
I think some things in life are like that. Like if you meet somebody, play a game of pool with them, you become friends. You meet someone, you beat the shit out of them, you become friends.
Yeah,
you know, it's those kind of levelers. I think what it does is it kind of cuts away the ego. And you kind of see what's really left, how the guy reacts to whatever the situation is. And then you kind of see the real guy instead of the act of Paddy Holohan.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Whichever one that is.
For sure. I'm actually in the market for the pool table. If anybody's selling an old pool table out there, I'm looking for an old pool table. I've got one for the reception I'm going to get. Because for the same reason you said there, that when you meet somebody and you play a game of pool, it's just different. I think if you put a common interest in front of people, and you know what the bad thing is? I think you have to put a common interest in front of people. Like, sometimes when I'm sitting down with you over the Colin, I don't know what to be saying to them. But if we're playing a game of pool, we're just flowing.
I think that's it with everybody. You'll see a lot of people as they get older, they get into groups or get into activities like bridge or backgammon or golf or thing.
Did we see you playing a game of backgammon?
At it with the old man.
With the old man?
Yeah, the Ballymo kid.
Yeah, I'd love to know how to play it because it looks like that kind of game that you'd be into.
It's not that difficult.
I'd be into, isn't it?
No, it's a dice game, but it's a board game as well. And so the chance is on the dice, but also there's a little bit of strategy in how you play the game. So I'm only learning. The Ballymo kid is my old man, so
yeah, he knows how to play.
He's a bit of a master at the moment. He has a special hat he wears when he's playing. So he's been teaching me. So I beat him on the first game, but he was playing himself. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing, so he basically beat himself. So we're 1-1 in the game.
The recklessness got him, did it?
He writes it down. We're 1-1 in the game because I played him twice. He beat himself once, but I claimed it, and then he beat me. So that's tomorrow I might do a vlog on it.
That's a good Shinobi vlog. If you haven't checked out Shinobi vlog, you were only telling it before you came in. Shinobi vlog is definitely one you got to pick out. Do you know what it was, as you were saying, board games? I was playing a game of Monopoly last night. Yeah, me uncle in Chelsea, and it was awesome. Right, I ticked off a tick in my life off my life. I owned it Pall Mall, and I owned it not Pall Mall. I owned it Mayfair and Park Street. Is that what it is? And I had a hotel on the bottom.
And a hotel.
Yeah, and my uncle was talking big game all day, and he came around the corner, boom, he hit the bottom.
That was it?
That was it.
How old is that game?
Monopoly. Oh, but you
because I played that when I was a kid.
That's actually something we'd have to look.
I reckon that's a
Look,
50
check
year
that
old.
up for us.
I reckon that's a 50-year-old game.
A 50-year-old game.
Yeah.
But like
Nothing changes.
No, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Man. You can't, and do you know what? It gives you that same. It's like then we over there, right? He's kind of. I think he's a little bit of a gambler, Colin, and he's bad, right? One time, I think I put it in him.
Right.
I had to hustle him on the way home. Playing snatch or switch. I had to take all his money off him and all I did, like, as in like. Hustle him.
Right.
I say, listen, I did that. I took that off you and all. And he's like, I don't want the back, right? I had to give it back to him because he was balling, he was, right? But we're out and he gambles on pool. He gambles coins against the wall. And it's all because of Bray. I had him on Bray one day and we were playing Dundee, and he hit the jackpot, right? And he fell straight off the stool onto his knees.
No way.
Right? And
Loves
your man,
it.
what?
Loves it.
He got 20 quid, made 20 euro he did, right? And
Change a moment.
It
in
was
his life,
5 or
wasn't
something, but he won 20 euro. And you know what? 20
Yeah.
euro was like life.
19.
Life changing.
Life changing.
Whatever I want.
And your man came over to the security guard and goes, are you over 18? And he's like, no, when he's taking the money out of the machine, he's like, you can't have that. And he's looking at me like, we're taking it.
We're taking it.
We're
Stop me.
having this, Dad. You know what I mean? You see all that crazy shit that you do be doing. That's what he's saying in his head. You need
Kick
to,
into it.
You need to pull some of that up now.
Monopoly just say 1935.
Wow.
That's mad, isn't it?
How many years is that?
A lot.
Yeah, all of our maths is like...
So that's like
2005, 10, 15.
80 years. Would that be right
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
And I bet you that, yeah, like all big companies, I'm going to actually have a look at this when I go home. The guy that probably made it and came up with it and put the hard work into it probably made nothing from it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
It'd be like McDonald's.
Probably died in the war.
That McDonald's story is very good as well. Did you ever see that?
No.
Never hear that? The guy that created McDonald's, like...
Ronald?
No, he's the guy that got... His actual name is McDonald, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, and he makes this one little restaurant in America and he has his burger and everyone stops and gets it. It's a Big Mac. It's this and they love it and these come down and they create a franchise of it, one of them. And he's like really controlling on how everything has to be done. It has to be done the same way. And it gets done and done and then it gets overdone. And the guy that was at the being with him, like that's kind of helping him to be his business advisor because this guy doesn't really know. He's just really good at burgers and everyone loves him. You know, he has the special sauce and all.
Right.
And it turns out that in the end of it and all, like most stuff, he ends up getting fucked over and all he does. And he gets nothing out of it. I think he gets 1 million or something like that for what he makes out of the actual restaurant. And it goes on to make like hundreds of billions and stuff like that. The actual guy that came up with the thing got fucking shafted.
On principle, it just can't go in anymore, can we?
You just can't. Humans are just fucking... Humans are bad for each other.
I think...
And good for each other, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, they're loving creatures, but they're also conniving creatures.
Yeah, but I think someone makes a decision and says, yeah, that's the one I am. And then they just make kind of, they make peace with it, conniving or whatever, which way it is. They
fit
make
into
peace
that
with
box.
it. And then you know what the worst thing is? The more they make peace with it, I think, it's like, the better they get at it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're on a different level. Because if you do something snarly on someone or something like that, like you're going to be like, and you don't think, you try not to do it again and try not to think about it. But I think of people like the person that gets over it, that can do it to people and do it to someone, and then get over it, and all of a sudden, like, actually wasn't that bad. And then they start realising the situations that they can do it in, and that the ideas of how it, like anything.
Yeah, and they go with it again.
Yeah, where human instinct would be to not live in that kind of area, so you wouldn't get to like scout it if you must. But then when it comes into being there, I think you get to figure it out a little bit more.
I identify as a scumbag.
Yeah, identify for the scumbag. Colin, how did you get into it? Like your martial arts story, I want to hear because you going way back to what 1970s.
Do you know what?
One.
I'll give it. I digress. I met Andy Ryan yesterday.
Deadly.
He's become an old friend of mine.
Andy is always a good man
Yeah.
to me.
And do you know he's after finding a tape from 2000
2000.
with him,
18
Dave
years
Roach, John Kavanagh, and they're at a seminar of Roger Gracie, and Roger Gracie is a blue belt.
That's mad, isn't it?
I was looking at it yesterday.
That's 18 years ago.
Yeah, Roger Gracie's a blue belt doing the seminar, and they're all there. Andy Ryan's murdering people with his judo.
It's just picking people up and pile driving them.
Yeah. So I started, I suppose, I got into martial arts late because I used to be like a semi-professional bike rider.
This was your big. This still is, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of like you were saying, who do you identify yourself as? So generally, you tend to identify yourself as something that you start at, or you tend to be a sum of who you met first. Like, I don't stretch and I don't warm up because the guy I hung around with at the start never stretched or warmed up. Just don't do it. I turn on the heating in the car and warm up grand. Wear lots of clothes. I'm like a little Ferrari tour. I just start slowly. That's it. Kind of do warm up, but I kind of got into. I always liked martial arts, and I did like karate from around the corner when I was a kid in Raleigh Square, with a Shotokan guy who was a mechanic for about a year, I'd say, if that. And then I got into bike riding at 15. Quit that at like 23, something like this.
But even the bike riding, like that, you were in Paul and all at that time. Would you?
No, yeah, I grew up in Crumlin, and then the guy next door, John Sheen, he had a garage next door, and he was always in messing around with bikes. And
there was always one of them in your house.
Always one of them. So I used to drop into him in the evening, and he'd be stripping bikes, putting them back together again. And then he was racing, and I'd see all these kind of like races he was in, and then I wanted to get into it. So at 15, I kind of quit school at 14 and got an apprenticeship as a painter. And I bought a bike. He got me a frame, and he got me a set of wheels, and got me racing, and kind of got into that. Went full time. Wanted to be a pro. Wanted to ride the Tour de France, but some stage I realised it was never going to happen, and that was at 22. That's a hard pill to swallow, because at 22 you think you're the man.
You're a bit old way for it then.
No, it just was never going to happen. It just wasn't a freak.
Oh,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And you hadn't got access to loads of PEDs.
Well, here's the thing. On your best day, with all the drugs in the world, on Lance Armstrong's worst day with no drugs and a hangover, he'd piss on you. That's the truth.
Yeah, you know the numbers though.
They're just freaks. They're freaks with big lungs,
Colin
big hearts, big
runs some of the McGregor FAST program as well. So Colin runs
yeah,
the McGregor FAST
we
so he knows what
that.
I was saying. This is how he knows what he's talking about.
So because it's all measured in cycling, and there's 100 years of data, there's a lot of stuff to millions of guys writing down everything, calculating everything, and recording everything. It's very easy to just go, okay, well, here's what I can produce power, here's what I can produce VO2 max, and there's a little sprinkle of luck and being smart in a race, but either have it or you don't. And then I kind of realised that was never going to happen, so I packed. It was a weird sensation of like your whole life was eat, sleep, ride a bike. That's all I did, and then one day in a race, I was like 200 guys in a race riding along, and next of all I just went boom, I'm done. I stopped pedaling. I start going backwards through the bunch. Bike came to a stop. Get in the van, never sat on the bike again. It was just an epiphany. Like, I've had a few epiphanies in life, and that was just, I'm done.
I want to hear about a few of them.
That was a weird one, because I got in never sat on the bike again for 10 years.
That's a weird one.
It's a weird one, yeah. And then...
Was it something to do with just the idea, do you reckon, like, you just overdid it?
No, I'm just done. I'm finished. I knew I was finished. It's kind of like when you meet the girl of your dreams. There's no, like, I wonder if she's the one. And a lot of people do that. I'm not too sure about this girl. How long are you going out with her? A month? No. When I met Candy, I knew instantly.
Yeah.
That's it.
But Candy's a special woman.
She is, like, but I just knew, like...
Yeah.
The first time I was going for a job interview in London, when I packed in the bike, I decided I didn't know what to do in my life, because, like, it was empty in a sense, where everything was your dream. I daydreamed. I just lived it. I remember going... Where was it? Blessing. And I was, the way people say visualising, but I was a fucking daydreamer. And I'm on my own on a bike, and I'm thinking about this race that I'm in. I'm not in any race. I'm in fucking British. And then I was going over the line, I had my hands in the air, like, yeah. And the embarrassing thing was, when I looked, there was a couple of other lads that I knew coming towards me, looking at me.
And visualisation back then wasn't even appreciated.
No, it wasn't a thing, You
were thrown into a loony bin.
I'm not just a daydreamer,
Yeah.
But
I was like that as well.
Yeah, so like I think in life I was always like that, and I think when you know things, you just know things. And when it came to the realization, it was an instant that I'm finished.
How did you meet Candy?
Yeah, when I finished the bike, I kind of like same thing. I was wandering around like a lost soul, not knowing what direction was, and where am I going? What's the next step? And I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have I do, so I could just continued on working. Went out, partied a lot, and I decided to go for a job with Japan Airlines, because a friend of mine was an air hostess.
All right.
not an air hostess, an air steward, right?
Yeah.
And he'd ridden a bike, the thing about it was I loved to travel because I raced in teams in Africa, in Senegal and Dakar, and I raced in teams called in Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. And this is pre-internet days now, so I knew that Japan Airlines was based in Japan, and they flew to Australia a lot and Japan, and I thought I'll learn Japanese and I'll get to travel the world. So I went for the job interview, and the mistake I made was drinking too much coffee.
Weird.
Well, I walked in the room and it was full of like model-esque type people, if you know what I mean. Everyone was beautiful, and I felt out of place. And I wasn't a bad-looking guy at 22, right? But I still felt like, Jesus, this is like, you know, Love Island or something like that. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
And
Morons.
I was late.
Oh, what am I missing?
Yeah, I was late. It was in London. It was in Heathrow Airport, and I was late. And the only space left was by the coffee machine. And because I was late, they left me till the last. And I just, you know the way you're supping on the beer when you're nervous. So I was supping on the coffee while I was nervous. And then they brought us into a room, and they had 22 people in a room. And the interview was, the people that were doing the interview were watching us while we had a conversation. So the topic was what you put in a time capsule that'll be open in 20 years. So now I'm sitting there thinking like, do you take charge of the conversation? Do you add to the conversation? Do you say nothing? What do you do here? So, of course, like the coffee kicked in, so I waffled. But I also put it as in, like, okay, an air steward or an air hostess is meant to give out food and, you know, care for people on the plane. But shit hits the fan. You got to get the people off the plane too, right? At the end of the day. So you got to be able to be a leader. So I took it like, oh, fuck, I'll add my own little tick in. And the girl that got it was, lived at home with her mammy, had a little dog, never left England.
Would you reckon you're the only ever Irish man that has found himself at an interview for a Japanese airline in the 90s?
No, I don't think so.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and I divorced, so like I was staying in a house with a couple I knew, and I was staying there for the night while I did the job interview. I was going home the next day. And
where was the interview?
London, in London.
Sorry, you said that.
So Candy knocked on the door.
Right.
Who was a friend of the people I was staying with, and she came in and she laughed at my jokes, which is, people always wonder what makes a good relationship, and I think if people find you funny or they laugh at your jokes or they get your sense of humour, it makes things a lot easier than having to say, look, I was only joking, love, please don't get upset, it was a joke. And then you spend the whole day trying to solve that bullshit, if you know what I mean. Whereas I can say anything to her, like stuff I say to her, people like, how can you say that?
How do you get away
but
with
it's
that?
said in the right context. And so what happens, we hit her off, we stayed up all night, never kissed, nothing, just like got on, and she went the next morning, we stayed up all night talking. And then I invited myself over the next weekend. So
She was living in London at the time?
She was living in London. How about I come over and make you dinner? So I bought the stuff with me in the plastic bag, the Dunn's bag, got on the plane, cooked our dinner, and that was it. And then she came over about...
What'd you cook her?
Usually what I usually cook, you know? Fucking paella. Everything's paella for me, you know, just fucking bit of beef, bit of chicken, throw it in a pan, bit of rice.
Is that someone
Chicken and
making that
rice.
radio out there again?
Oh, look, really?
Have they not seen that Tug Life video?
Tug life.
Just see the Tug Life he did.
Who was that?
Shut the fuck up. You know there's no videos on. Bet you it's Dino in there rocking his head off.
Rocking his head
He'd
off.
be in there on a road, he would be putting himself through the Atlantic in his mind.
Really?
And giving it, socks he's giving it. And then
Yeah, so I invite myself over, cooked our dinner, and that
You're
was
a
it.
man to get home,
And then I
aren't you?
said, why don't you come over? So she came over for a weekend, and I said, why don't you stay? That was it.
And that was it.
23 years later,
Still rocking on.
still rock and roll. Yeah, we don't argue.
No.
No.
Well, she doesn't seem with the type of girl like that.
We're not the argumentative type. What's the point?
And wait, was she a bodybuilder before?
She was 5th in the NABO World Championships. Where I was champion about...
Am I just making this up, or does someone tell me that she used to work for the FBI?
You're just making that up.
I'm just making that
Maybe
up.
she was, I don't know.
Maybe it's
Had
someone
it-
else. Because do you know what? I said to Chelsea this morning when I woke up, I said, I think Candy used to work for the FBI. Unless that got in a dream or
Could have
something.
been me, maybe, you know.
So, fast forward a few years, and the martial arts is starting to kick off.
Yeah.
Learned. You decided to bounce again. So
Yeah, 'cause
with Candy, you've done the cycling now.
Yeah, I got into. I first got into
This is dead.
ninjutsu. That was
Ninjutsu,
yeah.
yeah, that's what-
Well, what
that-
happened before that? Pre that, I got into. I was doing tai chi. I couldn't find anything else. I tried kung fu. Didn't like that. There was no internet, and there was a tai chi guy. And at the time, I was getting acupuncture, and the acupuncture said, "Hey, why don't you try tai chi? It's a martial art." And I did that, and then there was a guy called John Ding who was doing this seminar, and I was in this place called Budjikin Brian Dojo, which is BBD, was Brian McCarthy's ninjutsu dojo, and I walked in, and I just fell in love with the place. It had like knives and katanas and spears and all the weaponry of the art, and I was obsessed with blades from a very young age. Like, there's photographs of me at like 3 with a Bowie knife. Always had to have a knife. Just love knives. So I was like, where do I sign up for this? So I got into ninjutsu, and that was a kind of poignant part of my life where I needed a mentor, and Brian McCarthy was a fantastic mentor for me. He made men out of boys. It was hard.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of everybody. But at that time, I needed that, if you know what I mean.
Was he supportive as well?
Super supportive. Like, he had an office like the size of this, and the door was open or the door was closed. There was always someone in asking for advice. And he gave it you black and white.
Daddy, I love that.
Black and white. And the thing is, sometimes you don't want to look at the truth.
No,
If someone gives you the truth in one sentence, and you know it's the truth, there's no answer to it. And he was very good at that. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I was studying Chinese medicine in Dublin, and I was in this college, in this place where the guy was a bully. Now, people put bullies on a lot of shit, but that's not bullying, it's just fucking life, right? But this dude, like, we had to wear a suit to the class on the weekend. So it was one weekend a month, it was 8 hours. You had to, if you were 30 seconds late, they'd lock the door, it wouldn't let you in. We had to clean the place after us. We had to write every word he said. And then when you wrote it, you had to record it. Then you had to transcribe everything back into 150 A4 fool's gap pages and send it back in. And if it was wrong, you had to be on the line. And I failed the exam. They gave us the result. They gave us the answers to the. It was kind of planned. Second year gave us the answers on the slide, but it was given to us for the exam, right? Now, you still had to fucking learn a lot of shit, right? I knew the answers. So I had rehearsed. I went in, did the test, got it done with about a half an hour to spare, went outside. It was a sunny day. And they came out to me and said, listen, you need to go back in. No, I'm good. You need to come back in. I said, no, I'm good. And they failed me because I didn't do what I was told. And I had to re-sit and pay them more money. So I thought, fuck this college. And there was another one across the road. And I'd gone for an interview with them, and I'd got in, and I'd already been in there 1 year. So I said, look, I'm after doing the year here. Can I refer over? And they said, yeah. And I went across. Point of the conversation, or the point of what did they start off with?
The point of the piece.
Point of the piece.
Chinese medicine.
Oh shit! It's lost me. I diverse in a lot of stories, Paddy.
It's all good, I'm the same.
Yeah. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
It's all good.
But I think what we were talking about before that, the ninjutsu, Brian McCarthy.
Ninjutsu.
Yeah. So I went to Brian McCarthy's office.
As a teacher.
So I said to Brian, I'm after, I'd rang this guy, Tom Shanahan was his name, prick.
The guy that was the
head of it, and I said, Tom, we're starting second year, and it was £1,500 at the time, and I said to Tom, the money was due on the Monday, and we're starting on the Tuesday, and I said, look, can I just bring the money in with me? And on the phone he says to me, get that fucking money over to me tonight, or you can go fucking find yourself something else. And I was shook by it because I didn't expect that. It was only a day. So I went into Brian's office and I said to Brian, this guy's after saying that to me. And he goes, okay, you're going to let this guy talk to you like that and give him £1,500? Do something else. You know what I mean? And it's just like...
But that's the mad
That's
thing.
it.
Some people never look up.
That's it. And and Brian was a genius at that. And like, I owe him a lot. And what happened then was I was going for my black belt. And I had 30 fights for the black belt. I mean, there were gang beatings. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this? You just got... I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. For your black belt, you got a year's notice. You had to do a written paper. You had to do all your technique, and then you got to fight. But you had to fight your way in. If you turned you're gonna get the shit kicked out because you're a fresh guy, each one.
Yeah.
But if you turned your back and didn't fight on, even though you're gonna lose after the third one, it's over. Plus, you'll still get it. Do you know what I mean? And I liked that. I built character, and I got my notice for my black belt. I had 10 Kukin Shinrin-ryu fights. You know Kukin Shinrin-ryu? No. The karate, where they just stand in front of each other.
Oh, no blood.
No gloves, no head. You can kick in the head, you can't punch in the head. Just kick. They just no padding at all. 10 of them in a row. 10 judo fights and 10 kamuchi, which was kind of ground fighting. And I used to fancy myself in the ground because we did ground fighting, but it was kind of like not as structured as BJJ. We just rolled around.
I've rolled with guys that are traditional.
You know, and you can see it, right?
They're splitting your finger.
Yeah, or that kind of stuff. So I heard this John Kavanagh guy was this good grappler, and I kind of fancied myself. So Max Krivonovsky, you know Max? You should have Max on. So
you know what I'm the worst at?
Yeah.
People say a name to me and I'm like, yeah, and someone say, you denied me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I'd be like, no, I didn't. And they'd be like, you did, such and such actually did you know me and you said no. And I'd be like, fuck, is that your name?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Max brought me up to John's place, and it was up the laneway in Phibsborough.
Up the laneway.
Yeah, and it was that kind of garage with, I don't know what it was on the floor, but there was a bit of vinyl anyway. And I basically got schooled by everybody. Now, I was training 5 years. So I was going in with this kind of, you know, attitude. And guys that are training 6 months. And I realised then that I'm doing something wrong. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
not many do.
No, because the structure was different. The structure was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, repeat, drill with pressure. And the learning curve for that is fast. Whereas in Ninjutsu, I found one day we were doing swords, then the next day we were doing
no structure.
Rolling. It's not that there's more structure, it's just an art.
No structure.
Yeah, there is structure, but it's a lifetime learning instead of I want to be good in the year.
I think them things are the structure of it needs to be close. Like you can't be, and the same way with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like I've seen clubs in jiu-jitsu where one day you're doing mount top, and then the next day you come in and you're doing stand-up takedowns, and then the next day you're doing foot locks, and the next day you're doing wrist locks and side control.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Free, do whatever we feel.
Yeah,
like
I always say jigsaw pieces, like where if you're doing side control bottom, probably next week you're doing side control top, and then even with the kids I say, guess what's next, and you'd be like, mount. Yeah. And
in black and white I saw it in the physical form.
Yeah.
As in like, okay, well, I need to learn this. So the thing about the ninjutsu was Brian also did security. And he got me out of my comfort zone by doing security because I'm not a big guy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about being big. You'll find a lot of good security guys are small, but they tell the big guys what to do.
Yeah.
In a sense. So we were very tight as a group. So I used to only go up maybe every couple of weeks or every week up to John's, and it was a very hard transition to go from
being really, really good
because it was tight. No, I never had a problem getting tapped out, but it was hard leaving that group and going the other way, if you know what I mean. And I suppose what kind of made the leap was I went to Thailand in 2007. I'd gotten some problem. I'd gone blind 3 times, and I'd lost my vision after training.
From waiting here. Choked.
Well, after the sparring sessions on our Thursday sessions,
I
would sit in the car, and I was noticing in the dark in the car. You know, especially when you got battered, you'd be sitting there going, "What am I doing this shit for?" And I noticed when I moved my eyes, I was getting flashes of light in my eye, and then I had 3 episodes of losing my vision. It went from the peripheral went all the way up to here, and then the spot went in the middle, so I couldn't see. I could see like looking at a light in the middle, and then everything else closed in here.
Yeah.
That happened 3 times, and it's a little bit scary. And I went to the eye and ear, and they sent me on to a specialist, and he said to me that I had problems with the retinas. So from being punched in the head and being probably the judo throws as well, because the speed you hit the fucking mat at, that's fast speed. Over the years had the gel inside. There's a gel inside your eye, and it shrunk to somebody like of a 70-year-old. And it was every time you moved your eye, it was pulling on the retina, and that's what the streak. So he said, like, if you do a headstand, right, and your retina's going to detach, you're going to go blind instantly. So that was another second hard pill to swallow. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't into doing any competitions in MMA or in that, because I used to like sparring with the lads, but I'd got the competition thing out of the way with the bike riding. I'd probably done 100 races a year, every year for 10
You
years.
just weren't into it. Yeah,
I know who I am.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
some days I'm good, some days I'm bad.
Yeah.
Same with MMA when I spar with the lads. Some days I'm going to do all right, some days I'm not. I'm going to win, I'm going to lose. I know that already. So I didn't need to find that. If it had been the main sport, yeah, great. So what happened was I was thinking about what can I do now? Guys tell me not to train. So I thought, fuck, I'll just go to Thailand. And I'll do Thai boxing for 6 weeks or a month and learn low kicks, because it was never flexible. So I thought I'll just work on a low kick. Do you know what I mean? It's like Fraser broke his elbow, couldn't straighten his arm, so he got good at left hook. So people say, "Oh, my arm's sore." Well, use the other arm. What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't be saying, "Oh, my toes sore, not going training." You have 3 other limbs. You know.
Done that with a broken arm, got a lead left kick.
That's it.
You
So
got it.
went to Thailand and I was there for 4 weeks. Everyone was fighting, Paddy. And you know you're competitive.
In Thailand?
Yeah. You know, it was a Thai gym.
I was about to say, what did you expect to happen in Thailand?
So it was a Thai gym. I was up in Chiang Mai and there was very few foreigners. Dave Gordon, I went over. He was already there, so it was easy. I just arrived over and he had a gaff, so I stayed with him. And Max went as well. And I was there 3 weeks. I was like, fuck it. Give me a fight. Because everyone was fighting, and you get dragged along by the wave.
Dragged by the wave, eh?
And I remember the night before thinking, like, writing all these letters to people. You know what I mean? And then backstage with the music playing, and it's pitch dark and smelly, and there's a guy blind in one eye with sunglasses on, wrapping my hands, and no one's there speaking English to you. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
And the realisation,
it's
a lonely spot, but it's a good spot.
Yeah.
And after the fight, I noticed, we went in a nightclub and me, Pedro, another Brazilian guy that was over there doing jiu-jitsu with me, and Max and Dave. And when we went to the nightclub, I noticed in the nightclub, even with it being dark, a big black spot in front of my vision. And I'm thinking, oh, bollocks, what's this going to be like in a day, you know? And went to the hospital the next day. And the hospitals in Thailand are superior to here. Like the technology, like if I was ever sick, I'd just go to Thailand. It's fantastic. So they went in, checked my eyes.
I thought I'd never heard anybody say that.
Fantastic. Want to get your teeth done? Get a holiday, go to Thailand, get them done. They have master's degrees in doing fillings. You know, that kind of way?
Yeah.
So they checked my eyes with much better equipment than some old fart down on Aylesbury Road did. And basically said, how's my eyes? And they were like, yeah, it's okay. Not great. Not as good as it should be. Can I fight? Yeah. Can I train? Yeah. Whereas here, it's like, you said I could fight and I went blind, I'm suing you.
Yeah.
So if you're on the verge of something over that edge, they'll always go on the caution on safety.
So that's why you can't fucking fight anymore.
If you were in Thailand, go to Thailand, Paddy.
I know.
You know what I mean? But it's bullshit. It's because people don't want to say, yeah, you told me.
You should be allowed, not that you should be allowed to do what you want, because like obviously there has to be some sort of like regulations and some sort of thing, but it can't be if somebody else doesn't understand the thing. It's like, no, let's err on the side of caution.
They have to, because their reputation, they don't want to get sued.
Because if somebody knows,
yeah,
it's like fair enough. But if somebody's kind of like, no, it's just best to err on caution. I think that's a weird one, because it's not their caution to bear on. You get what I mean, in a way?
And like, fighting's not for everybody.
No,
if you want to fight, you should be allowed to fight, no matter what. Like give an example.
Dangerous.
Yeah, of course it is, and you know that, and you're kind of testing yourself, and that's with great risk comes great reward. I mean, I saw some guys that, you know, the slack line, and they walk on the flat rope, and they're going across this canyon at 2,000 meters up, and he has a little rope on it, and then he does this thing where he just takes the fucking rope off. And you think, what a suicidal lunatic. He's not. He's just trying to test himself.
He's just trying to see it, feel it.
On my birthday, I got into mountain biking recently again. And on my birthday, I went out with no helmet, went down the steepest hill I could find. Just to test myself, on my own, in the middle of nowhere. And people say, well, that's a stupid thing to do. It's not. It's, have I got that confidence in my ability that I can do that? Yeah, I do. Am I going to have to rely on a helmet? No, not today. Maybe tomorrow. But today I'll switch on and I'll do it 100%. It's like, you can't fight every day, but when you do fight, you come with your best game. But you can't come with your best game every day.
No, you can't.
It's too wearing on it. You know?
That's it. Yeah, what's it? The bright light theory, isn't it?
What's that?
The idea of I think it was actually is it Julian that uses it, that when you come into a room, fitness wise, you want to be
The light on, light off.
the bright light. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean? You
think-
don't want to be that simmering light all day long. That's like a yellow light in a factory that's constantly.
I think like what like does, in a sense where MMA, it's a new sport, and like does what like does. Why is everyone hitting tires with a sledgehammer? You know, why is everyone doing battle ropes? Because everyone else is doing it. Like, go to Thailand. Why do I have to run for 10k? I'm fucking sweating, tying my shoelaces. I'm warm.
I'm Irish.
Let's hit the fucking pads.
Yeah.
But you're going to run for 10k, come back, jump on the tire for another fucking 20 minutes, shadow box, then skip, then hit the bag. Then you might do 3 rounds of pads. And of the 3 rounds of pads, you've got a guy going, bok, bok, sabai, balan, balan. And you might hit the pads 10 times each round. So of your 3 hours training, you've done about fucking 3 minutes proper training.
Yeah. So a lot of it's character.
Yeah, but it's like does what no one comes in and changes that routine. So with MMA, first guy in the gym, last guy out of the gym. You do 3 sessions. I cut 10 kilos. I cut 11 kilos. Competitive lads trying to keep up with each other, and no one's stepping back and saying MMA. What is it? It's a 5-minute interval with sub-anaerobic intervals inside it. 5 minutes with 1 minute's rest. That's what you train for. As a performance.
So you train for different thresholds,
It might start off super fast, or you might want to lead the pace. But as a performance thing, that's what you need to train for. As a skill thing, you've fucking 1,000,001 things you got to train for. But with like does what like does, and Julian says, you know, and it's true, I'm either on or I'm off.
I'm off. Yeah.
Like the first session we ever did with Connor, we went into, when they came to Portugal after the Diaz fight, we brought him in, we did the row machine, we did like...
Is that when it started?
Yeah. Do you know how it started?
I was in Iceland, which is when it was kind of starting to tick over.
Yeah,
I kind of got the idea of what was going to be happening and what was going down.
Yeah, so it all comes down to the vlog.
Yeah, so the vlog. so
It all comes down
fast
to...
forward a few years, and then
Yeah.
there's a few things that happen in Irish MMA. You moved to
I moved
you
to-
moved to Portugal.
Yeah, I moved to
Create
Portugal.
the Shinobi gym.
Well, I kind of...
If you're ever out in Lagos or something like that, we haven't been there yet.
Shame on you.
Shame on
On
me.
the podcast.
I got a Lanzarote trip in last week or something like that, and it was probably the first holiday I've been on probably in about 6 years. That was
Yeah.
just like I'm going on holidays. You know what I mean? I'm not going
Yeah.
away on a retreat. I'm not going on a course. I'm not going. I'm like
great.
sitting on a beach going.
Switch off.
Shit, there's nothing to do tomorrow.
No.
And today, this is
Yeah.
great.
Takes a bit of
You
time.
know what I mean?
to
But that's what I have
readjust.
to do going out the thing. But you create a gym, and it's on the beach.
Best view of any gym in the
Best
planet.
view of any gym on the planet.
That's the
See it.
truth.
If you haven't checked out the pictures of it, go on to the Shinobi
Academy, yeah.
Shinobi Academy, and it's incredible. Where if you're ever thinking about bringing out a group of something like that out to your places, that's the spot for it. Because Andy Ryan does this now as well. Doesn't he?
Andy
His
Ryan's got
camps and stuff
50
like that.
lads coming in October.
Like, that's amazing.
Oh,
you know
I'll
what
be
I
in
mean?
Vegas.
Like, you'll be in Vegas after. Like, yeah, but
Sorry,
I
Andy.
100% have to organise a camp out there. You know what I mean? I'll talk to you after this about it.
Yeah, I mean, that came arise, it's probably knock off from Thailand and having to go to Thailand. And a lot of people, I love being in a full-time training environment with like-minded people. Not going to train in the evening and having to work all day. I just want to, like I did on a bike ride, hang around with like-minded people that are all, let's everyone ride for everybody else. Like in the Tour de France, there's a guy follows around the yellow jersey with the same size bike. And if the guy punctures, he gives him his wheel, then he goes back. If he crashes, he gives him his bike. Everything is for him. Your day will come. We can't all be the man, but he's the man. And I like that. And I found when I went to Thailand, not everyone can say to their girlfriend or boyfriend or partner, hey, I'm going to Thailand for a month, see you. Like, you're not going, are you?
No.
You're not going.
Yeah.
So I thought, where can you go in Europe where you can bring your wife or girlfriend or partner, she can lie on the beach with
Kids and stuff like that as well.
and you can go train. And there's no problem, there's no drama. And I was in Portugal. I got a place there. I'll tell you how I got that in a few minutes. But I was thinking, what can I do to stay here? I like it. There's a very soft landing. A lot of places you get there and it's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it kind of like eventually kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But I got there and it was just like, oh, this is kind of, it's like home.
Yeah, it's kind of easy.
It's a soft land, nice people, very free, Paddy. I can walk around with no shoes on in the supermarket and not look like a lunatic. There's no rules.
Yeah, take your shoes off if you want to.
Whatever you want to do, just do it. No one's going to bother you. And I was looking, what can I do here? Because I've done a lot of different things. And was thinking, do you know what? No one's doing MMA here. Nobody. Couldn't find anyone. And no one had an academy. Everyone had a school hall with some mats that was sponsored by the local council, and the judo came in and the kickboxing. We're still in Krav Maga and kickboxing. I said, no one's doing MMA. It can't beat being forced. If you know what I mean.
No, you
the first guy.
100%.
You might get someone that's better, but once you're the first guy, you can't beat it.
Yeah, it can't beat being forced.
I was looking around, same thing, warehouse, all that kind of stuff, and then someone said, hey, there's a gym down in this place. It was the gym like 8 years ago. I knocked on the door. They got the key, opened up this place. And I went in and was like, all right, I want it. How much? And they didn't know who owned it. And it took them a year with a lawyer to get it. And then I packed my job in, got in the car.
Like, so some of that, they left this building literally just...
8 years sitting there.
This is mad, because that happens all the time.
And it's like a back cave. It's just a little door, and you think, like, what the fuck's in here? And that's just like, boom, it's huge. It's 3 big rooms, like.
And someone owned this then, still owned it.
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of apartments. And, condominium life, right? So, you know, it was all over the place. Anyway, they found who owned it. It was a collaboration of different people.
Like a fund. And
it took them a long time to say, okay, you can have it, because they're not really into doing business in Portugal. Have it. Stay on there, relax. You know, it's a corpo job.
Yeah.
You know, the whole country's a corpo job.
Yeah.
They're going too fast there.
You need to slow down, mate. You'll have us all doing work here.
Yeah. So I just thought, like, and there's an apartment complex next door. It's in an apartment complex. So I just thought, you come down, book in, train full time, and you're perfect. So I got the place, got in my car, packed my job, drove down with 2 bags, and got there and started painting the place, working on the place. And then I opened in April, had my first training camp. John Cabinet came down, brought a guy from Thailand, and brought another local guy, and we had 25 people show up for the first ever Shinobi training camp. And it was 7 days, split days.
And how did you get the equipment and stuff like that?
My dad gave me a loan.
Yeah, but like, as in, did you ship it in?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. I got the mats that John had up in I think it was Racool. He had them in real thin but super light, and I got a white mat because I watched Hicks and Gracie's choke, and the Japanese were training in this room with a white mat, and I just thought, that's the dog's bollocks.
And it's just, the whole thing is just white, isn't it?
It's a studio. And there's like the skylights that are twice the size of the ceiling here that just let in natural light. Yeah. And it's always the same temperature because it's underground. It could be 40 degrees outside and it's the same inside.
Is it cool?
It's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and here's the white mat is a double-edged blade again. It breaks my heart because it you have to like
scrub it.
Yeah, you have to make sure it, you know, you see every mark on it. But it gives there's a reason why McDonald's and Ryanair have yellows and reds and all these colours, so you don't stay in and out. It does something to your psychology. The white mat, I get very few injuries, even with the camps.
It's the yellow and orange as well, isn't it?
People come with a different spirit when they roll in the white room. The whole room is white, and then I got the champ room now, which is pale grey, which is a little bit different.
Oh, I've seen, and that's the
Fuji mats.
Fuji mats in that one, yeah.
Have you tried the Fuji mats? They have them in John's now, yeah.
They're
I like both. I like the.
Do you know what mats I don't like? I don't like, just personally, I don't like mats that split apart.
Yeah.
Like not that the Fuji one's split.
Yeah.
But that I like mats that like it has to be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I can't even take that.
Yeah. Now mine are like it's a squash court.
It
was a squash court.
So it's just
planted in, and what John said was interesting. It's the size of an octagon.
The actual room.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Which kind of octagon?
Like the UFC octagon. Oh, right. So like the squash court's the size of that.
So it's just 42 feet, I think it is, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Then at the white room.
And there's a square, this one?
Square, yeah. Oh, nice. And I've padded in them one side all bags. And then the ISI guys have a bunch of weight equipment then in the other room, and then the white room. And I'm putting a sauna in this year.
Dead.
Because in the change room is a little change room. So.
Yeah, alcohol.
Yeah, that's the.
And then the sea is right out the front door as well.
Yeah, you basically come out. There's a 50-meter pool right below, and below that was voted 2 years in a row the world's most beautiful beach.
Dead.
John Cameron got engaged on one of the rocks.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So he's kind of tied to the place as well.
Did you ever see sharks around there?
Did you see the video? Oh, we couldn't put it out. We went out fishing there the week before I came. We caught a 300-pound tuna. Yeah.
Sell that bad boy?
1 meter 90.
Sell them?
I know, we chopped them up and stuck them in the freezer.
Really?
Oh, yeah. See, the boys that you've got, like, you got Lagos, and Lagos is the kind of last stop before the wilderness in Portugal. Once you go past that, you've just got all these people that are off the grid and living in vans or tents or wigwams or whatever the fuck you want.
Really?
Oh yeah, unbelievable, Paddy.
I've heard
families
that. You say that. People
living off the grid. Like I there's more roads off road than there is roads, and I started to find. Well, I got a mountain bike recently and started kind of exploring. There's wild boar, eagles, little jungle kids. It's bananas. Yeah.
And have you bumped into a lot of little kind of things?
Yeah, there's like little hippie communals and their own little kind of little. They've got a dairy, and they've just got a bunch of like a little community of hippies. They smoke their bit of weed and do their whatever else they do. And
ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca is kind of like a lot of people are going there to do it there as well. And they've shamans and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like a very free place once you just go outside my town. And that's what I like about it. The lack of rules, the lack of controlling, the sense of freedom. And coming back to a city then, like you were saying earlier, I see it through a different viewpoint than before. Well, I mean, when you're in a city, you're just in a city. You're in that bubble. But when I'm gone 9 years now, and I was gone for like 5 before I ever came back. Now I'm back and forward a lot now. But it was a case of like, I see things a lot different now than I did before.
Well, their head's clear because you're obviously living it in a slower gear as well, which is a nice way of living.
I think here as well is it's gone very conformist.
The whole country?
Yeah.
What's it like looking into Ireland from an Irishman on the outside? Like say all the stuff that's going on.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid you'd say.
Disappointing. As in, everyone conformed very easily. I think the first big hurdle for me, I think, was the smoking ban.
Oh yeah.
Not I'm a fan of smoking.
Oh, but did you think that's never going to last?
That's not going to last. No, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
And then day one, no one smokes. Some poor lad in Galway put out some ashtrays and he fucking screwed him, right?
My own bleeding ma has been smoking since she was 13, and I'd say fair play to your ma.
Yeah.
She's off the smokes now 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's not. She nearly kicked the bucket, so she had to be.
But
she's on one of them vapor things now, and she's off the cigarettes. 3 months, couldn't believe it. And you want
the difference?
Huge difference.
I mean, so I'm not kind of advocating smoking, but the fact that when people said, look, you can't smoke anymore in a bar, that it just happened overnight. And I think then that was the kind of like, let's throw in a bunch more. I always noticed when I used to go to England, I remember we used to do these survival ninja courses where you'd go train all day, no sleeping bag, no tent, -5 degrees in the snow, dig a hole and sleep in it, get up the next day and in your gear and start swinging the sword around. I remember one time we went in the summer and I was in the middle of this forest. There was a little lake and I saw they jumped in the lake and this guy popped out of a fucking shed. Excuse me. It's like, yeah, you must wear a life jacket in the pond. It's like, I'm in the fucking middle of nowhere. Where'd you come from? And you know the way England's very, very, very PC and very like rule, high vis. You need to every fucking course in the world, and I found here has gone very much like that, where
we have found it like a big thing would be that's in the news now is a lot of you would have went to a lot of the schools that would have been like with that ran by the Christian Brothers at the start and the things totally like turning off the subject, but there's a big huge thing going on about the investigations and about the responsibility of being claimed, and with the Pope coming here, what do you think about that from afar?
I went to see the first Pope. 1979.
I was going to ask you that as well. So you seen the first Pope in 18? But
yeah.
Like, at the time there wouldn't have been so many like 100% facts and truths of cover-ups.
No, there was nothing really. I mean, it was general knowledge. Like when I went to Drimna Castle, so there was 42 kids in a class. And there was that was run by the brothers. Now at the time they could hit you, like the first day in school, you know, they had this thing called a letter. Some people use it, some people just hit you, and it was like a very hard leather strap. It was always like a flexible stick, but about 1.5 inches wide, 1/2 inch thick, and about 7 inches long. And you should just batter you with it. And some would, give you slaps on the hand. Others would just whack you. Some brothers were nice, but I'd say about 30% of them were were known kind of gropers as such.
To me, I said this a while ago. So I had an argument with somebody about like, not about religion, not about, and it's not even about but this and that. It's not like it's about the whole organisation of like. I know if I was involved in an organisation, and all of a sudden I knew like there was paedophilia and all going on, and people pull the ejector seat. You know what I mean? And not only that, you would expose as much as you could.
Yeah, but you can't expect a man to be celibate, not have, intercourse, not have a wife, not have normal relations, not have a normal life, stick them up with a bunch of other guys that probably at the time, like if you think about it, like at the time, like was it homosexuality was illegal at one stage. So where are you going to go? If you know what I mean, like hide off with this, and maybe I can pray it out of me.
I can pray it out of me or something.
And then you're left with a bunch of other guys in the same situation, and that just, if you squeeze a balloon, it's going to pop off somewhere into some sort of perversion.
Yeah.
And I think
you're creating a link, like a ring there, if you must. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then confession is another thing I've always thought about. It's like people are saying it's encouraged to sit around having conversations about sins that we cannot tell anybody else about.
And at the end of the day, the guy behind the other box is still a human being.
Exactly. So you were saying there as well. So it was very well known. You were saying, you were saying about Drum Castle.
Yeah. I mean, we had you'd know from either guys that were there before, or else an older brother would say, that guy or that brother or that. And like I say, most of them were okay. They were hard, but most of them were okay. But there was a few that you would know were, red flag. And there was a prefab there. And there was 42 kids in each class, let's say. And if you got him for the year, you only had one teacher. But he molested everyone down the back where the thing was. But it was not, to be honest with you, Paddy, it was no big deal.
At the time, yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was just, that's just the way it was. And it's just like, he's going to fill your balls down the back. Yeah. I remember being in secondary, we were playing hurling, and someone got a smack of the sliotar in the balls, right? And the brother went over, he was reffing it, start massaging his balls in front of it, and there's 15 lads on a team. We all thought it was fucking hilarious because it wasn't us, but that poor lad couldn't stand up, and the man was like in front of everybody. But that's just the way it was. And that guy used to call him.
And I think that is the problem with it as well. Do you know why? Because I'm not sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But the problem is that Irish people, as you say, you were saying about training.
Yeah.
As you do. Is that what you were saying?
I think like does what like does.
Like does what like does. That's what I'm saying. But the idea of like and it wasn't, that was harmless, and it was that, but even now it's kind of like the covering of that from all angles.
And for most people it didn't affect them, but there are some people that it hugely affected, that probably was a lot more gruesome than a quick feel down the back of the thing, or they built up a singular relationship with one more so than the other 42. I'm sure like they would go through everybody and then find out which one suited them, and then just hammer them.
Pinpoint them, and then take the whole bleeding.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things. Like I was gone at 14, so
that was a huge reason I think for people bouncing out of school early as well.
Well, no one went to college. You just like, I was like, what's the point in staying till they're leaving?
Do you think so even now that like some people can't get into schools from being baptised, like you're not baptised.
I don't understand that. Like I mean, like
you've been away, as I said.
Yeah, but like even now, people still get their kids christened, or still do the communion, or still do that. But
I'm not going to.
No, you shouldn't.
First Holohan's will be to
let him
change
do it when he's 18 if he wants to do it. But like
I think this is.
But you're already putting a dogma on them, and that's what it is. Like it's a fairy tale.
Yeah, but
and in this day and age, if you believe that fairy tale, but what's behind the fairy tale is a bunch of money and a bunch of power and a bunch of men. Well, there is a few good men. There are a few good men that meant well.
There's great men, because I've got friends in it that are friends of mine as well, and I would consider them really good friends. You know what I mean?
And there would have been people that I would have met in life that were priests or that were brothers that said something to me good at a certain time, but there's too much muck.
This is it. There's too much muck in the water.
Too much, and it's for me like. In this day and age, now I know it's very hard for older people to readjust because of all the dogma they learn throughout their life, like my mother and my father, to readjust to saying, actually, you know what I believed in all my life is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a hard spot to be.
And it's not even, I wouldn't even say that, because I said, people say like, oh, well, what you believed in was not bullshit, what you believed in got so twisted and distorted and mucked up in the organisation and in the head and stuff like that. It's the same thing, because when you cut it back down to it, it's like love other people, like don't do one to another that you wouldn't want done to you. Like all of the kind of the to be loyal to people. But it's only when you start dragging like the past the 5 main rules, I think, that all of a sudden it becomes, you know what I mean? So it's not that, because this I've had this conversation with all the people, and I've had this conversation with a priest,
Right.
and I've said to him like would you not bounce on this, like, and he was like, how can I? It's more like, you know what I mean? He said I believe in this. Yeah, but like the organisation that you're involved in now is massively ruined. I said, and we now need people and priests, and them victims need people and priests to start walking away from the organisation, as in a like, I know stuff went on, I'm about God, I am a Catholic, I am this, but I have no organisation with this. Until this is all cleaned up, I'm away from it. And it's only until people, as I said, stand up against an organisation like that and start having them kind of walkouts. And that's why I'm trying to explain this to somebody that is a priest. He's like, yeah, but like, all your life you believe in this, you believe in that. I said, you don't have to. You still believe in loving people? Do you still believe in that? You don't have to believe in celibacy. You can go and have a family, and that's the best love of your life. That's where you learn love.
I think that would, just that one simple thing. I don't think they're gonna just, all right, we're closing shop. But I think the one simple thing that they could do is just allow priests to be married and have relationships with either male or female, whoever you're into.
That's it. But they can't control that, so it's like.
But if you see how much, at one stage, the law of the land was the church.
Yeah,
and they were horrendous.
If you look at the education system, it's nearly still like that.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Yeah, but in a sense where it's gone from controlling everything to having almost a rebellion. Like I noticed, see the families of the world or whatever's on in the RDS this kind of week. I was over in Ballsbridge the other day, and everyone at it is from countries that would be like almost third world countries, that would still be a bit almost behind the thought pattern of where we're at, or the experiences that we've had, or they haven't got to that yet, like in Africa and South America, Asia, places like that where they went to. Because like when I was a kid, there was how many people went to church? St. Bernadette's Church, there was a 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9, 10, all these masses with 1,500 people with 7 priests that live there, and then there's one lad that just does everything. So where do all the new guys go? They go to the new colonies, the new places that they haven't copped onto, or they haven't had the experience yet. So I think if anything, what they should do is allow priests to be human.
100%.
I mean, how are you meant to advise someone on the relation? I hear them like people get married and then the priest giving advice on family, and like how are you giving advice on family if you don't know what it is?
Sure. Like I'll take her off this subject after this, but there was I think it was down in Cork, a head bishop or something like that said that, sure, the abomination of abortions is a lot worse than grown men molesting children. I won't go into the subject on it, but on that line there, both of them, one of them is down to person's decision, which is just their own life and family, and then the other one is protection for a whole race of people, if you must, like. So everyone must protect children from predators. Everyone must do that.
Do you know anyone that's going to see the Pope?
No, actually.
I haven't met one person. Like my mother would be very Catholic. She's not going.
She's not going. Do you know what I reckon it's going to be? And this is what I hope it is.
Yeah.
I hope it's a really good comparison of when we see the picture of like when the Pope came in, played in the 80s or whatever it was, to the Pope coming in 2018.
Well, there's going to be 600,000 people at it, right?
What was that last time? Over 1 million?
Over 1 million, but that's when we had a much smaller population.
Yeah,
like I remember walking down through Inchicore as a kid, like a young kid, looking back, and the road, all the pavement was just black with people, and walking down, and it was the dawn was coming. And it was one of those iconic little things I had as a kid, and it was like I don't remember much of it because it was a long time ago, but I think this one will be, like I said, the people that I saw at the RDS the other day, a lot of people have come from different countries here. I haven't met one Irish person.
That's coming from
That's coming.
this one?
No, not one.
And they took down all the Dublin flags and put up Pope flags as well. You should drag that horse shite down, I tell you. That's just paying out straight.
It's just a rotten institution.
It's just that this is it. That, you know, there's nothing more to say. It's just a rotten institution. That is it. It's a rotten organisation. It's a rotten institution.
From every level.
Covered up anything like that as well. And
It's good. I tell you what's good though. It's good that we're in a day and age where we can get information and we can be educated and make an educated decision instead of just go with dogma.
yeah, and listening to it. Down
Yeah, and
the
make your
road.
own viewpoint or make your own decision based on, you know, other people's opinions. Like I have a friend that says, I'm willing to believe that everything I know is wrong. I'd like to be in that spot.
I think I am. I think I'm like that. Like if you come out and show me something that's better than the jiu-jitsu thing that I've could swear my house on, I'll change on the spot.
Yeah.
So, obviously you've been involved in what Connor's doing for the last little while, so that's been it has to be an iconic kind of.
It's huge. I mean,
It's huge.
As a chapter in my life, it's a huge chapter
So
in my
the
life.
first thing started off, it was there like power. I think that when the Mac thing was kicking on, remember the back of the car or whatever it was.
Yeah,
This is a big rich town.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, got to see
It was just one of those things that like happened at the right time when I was ready.
What fight was that?
Mendes. Not Diaz. Second Diaz.
Was it?
Well, after he lost the first Diaz fight.
Was the Mac life not dead? The
No,
Mac thing
no.
and the Mac fast and all that kind of stuff.
No.
So
It's kind of new, you know. So I think what happened was I decided to do a 30-day vlog when I was doing Mad into the vlogs, and over the years, do you know what a lot comes down to, Paddy? It's how you treat people over the years, and sometimes you have conversations with people that you don't even remember the conversation, but they kept it as gold, and you've had those conversations with people that have said something to you at the right time that they didn't even know about it, and it was big for them. And I think a lot of that, eventually something changes where you meet them down the line and they never forgot how you were to them. And I think a lot of that is probably where I am with Connor. I don't remember a lot of the stuff when he started training when I was training already a while.
But Connor's a good man for that, and
Very good
I'd
man.
say that for that.
Yeah, great character.
He remembers.
He does, and the thing about it was I was doing a video going into town. I was on my bike, you know, whatever.
He's saying that,
And then
that's a great video.
I got a text. He just lost a Diaz fight, and someone had said to me, friend of mine Wes had said to me, you know, he's a big fan of Connor. What do you think Connor should do? Now Connor had been down my gym twice or three times before that. And, you know, I bumped into him in the gym. We had roll, had, you know, just like, you know, the usual kind of relationships you have with people in gyms. And your man said, what do you think Connor should do after losing the Diaz fight? Because it was shocking. Everyone was shocked when he lost, right? I was. And I said, I think you should call me. And about a week later, I got a message on, out of the blue, Messenger, what's up? It's like, all right. And he said, would you be able to help out with the cardio? Because he used to cycle bikes. He saw me on the bike going into the gym. I said, yeah, sure. Because I think, you know, I need to work on it. So I said, okay. And then I just thought that's a hell of a responsibility to take on.
Big time.
As in, like, human error, getting it wrong, getting it right. So I got in touch with Julian Dalby, who's a doctor and who was probably one of my first mentors in life. He was a world-class pro bike rider, Olympic squad guy, and now he's a doctor. And I said to Jules, I said,
Cool
look,
deal,
we have this guy. Yeah, he's a cat, you know. I mean, he got me riding in a place called Guadalupe when I was 19. I didn't even know where the fuck it was. Like, I just packed in my job one day. He sent me a letter, packed in my job at 800 quid in my pocket, bought a ticket for 760 to 40 quid, went for 3 months.
There's a lot of fucking sharks there.
A lot of
As you
sharks.
know.
A lot of sharks. So anyway,
There it is.
I got in touch with Jules. Jules put Connor into a lab tested him. So we did an anaerobic threshold VO2 max test, and then John, Lee Hammond, Artem and Connor and Vasil came down for a week. So to train and to kind of give them a little bit of direction on what we're doing. So I did both sessions, John's session and all the cardio. We did the cardio with Connor and that we were doing. Brought him on a bike, got him running the stairs. You have to run the stairs, Paddy. And at the end of the week, I was kind of happy to see the back of him. Our work was done. We'd kind of given them the guidance of what we thought they should do. And what I will say is they were all in. Like, everybody was very open. There was no kind of like, man, I'm not too sure about that. And that's one thing about
It was
Connor.
like That's
Yeah.
shit. I don't like
Yeah.
that. I like that's
It was just like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, we do. And that's one thing about Connor is, and a lot of people fall down on it. He's a brilliant student. A lot of people get a purple belt and they think they're a fucking man.
some people get a fucking blue belt and think that.
You know yourself. So, but he's
There's
always.
some people I've caught turning, blue white belts, or which way it is.
Yeah.
Don't use them here anymore, but
Yeah.
they turned them over so they look like a full blue belt.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
But you know yourself.
Yes.
So,
Sorry.
and you're a guy that would be one of those guys that's willing to learn. And I think in life you have to be open to suggestion. Otherwise, you're just that, So what happened was, they were going. We'd seen them like 2 a day. I was done. I hadn't trained 2 a day for a week for a fucking long time. And I was just like, okay, can't wait for these to go. Me and Jules went for a coffee just to to defrag.
How do we get rid of them?
Yeah, so it was just kind of like, that was good. Just to sum up the week.
I
how we
remember
got
Connor
on.
saying something to me about that.
Did he?
About that week.
Right.
About Julian.
Right.
And about like, he's an animal.
Oh, he's an animal.
Yeah, it's like,
I wouldn't sleep.
I think he said something about like a bus taking off and Julian took off at the same time. And the two of them kept side by side,
He's a unit, yeah. But
you're talking about VO2 numbers and stuff like this now, like, which is more important than your pin code, isn't it?
yeah. And the thing is, it's very important to the person.
So what is a VO2 number? So
It's the amount of oxygen you can hold in your lungs, basically.
yeah.
So
After that, you just
a lot of it's genetic. You can change it by training and train it specifically. And instead of like Jules says, light on, light off. If you're just a guy that's just, what it is like, Paddy, to go training. It's a battle. It is for me. Do I want to go train? Do I want to go train? It's that little. That's not comfortable on the couch. I'll stay here. Open the door, close the door, sit back on the couch. Get in the car, get out of the car. It's all that shit, right? But once you go, it's hard to fucking stop. I'll do another round. Do you know what I mean? You have to have someone to say, look, you're done, go home, have a shower. No, let me do it. And that's the problem with it. When Connor was going then, we went up to say goodbye. And then he said to me, do you want to go to Iceland? And I was thinking, he sent me a message because we were just be going up to say goodbye. Do you want to go to Iceland? I was like, yeah, thanks. Thinking like maybe next year as a whatever, thank you or whatever. So I go up, say, like, see you. He's like, well, are you ready? I said, for what? Iceland. We're going to Iceland. When are you going to Iceland? Now.
Oh, now, yeah.
Now. And I was like, what? Now? Like, yeah. I'm living in a fucking village, you know what I mean? Everything's done mañana, now? We're going to Iceland now? And I thought, oh, fuck it. Can I go tomorrow? He says, all right, I'll organise it. So I flew to Iceland. And the funny thing was, like, when I got to...
we bet you do.
That's right. I landed in... This is a big thing for me because I've been away in the bleeding... in a hole for the last in a cave, write me book.
I know. When I met you, I
don't talk to anyone. So like,
people.
I was like, Masashi, write me book. But when I landed in London for the transfer, I got a message from John Cavanagh saying, "Can you go to Vegas?" I was like, "Can I go to Vegas? What when?"
Where
like,
we go?
and then I sent him a message like, "Do you want me to stay here? Do you want me to go to Iceland?" So I didn't hear. So I always go with the last command. So I went to Iceland, turned on my phone when I landed, and my phone just blew up. Connor'd retired. And I was just like, no, I just got here. You know what I mean? I just got here and he's retired. Do you remember that whole thing? And then, yeah. And then that was a fantastic week, so.
Like, pack it in, will you? And I'm like,
yeah.
And you know what the mad thing was, right? And I don't even think he realised that at the time.
Yeah.
I actually had to retire 2 or 3 days later.
I know.
And we had to retire after one of the big
I know.
kind of...
I was just lost in the wave.
Not even the wave, but it was just like... People are gonna think I'm bullshitting now.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me that, and I was just like, oh.
And 50 of the messages, probably, 50% of the messages were, "Are you acting the bollocks?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, sadly, no.
I remember you telling me.
I remember saying it to Connor as well, and he was like, "Ah, bollocks!"
Sorry about that.
Down to that, like. I was like,
but that was a great week, and then after that.
That was a savage week.
It was a great week.
That was just one of those. I was introduced into what was going on and what we were doing there.
Because that was the other thing. He said, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. So I had him up in the morning. Gave him. I'd make his breakfast for him.
Breakfast in the morning.
I'd communicate through the letter M. I'd wake him up. Right, time to wake up. And then there's your breakfast. I'd give him his break. Come back down. Breakfast would be gone. He'd be still. Coffee, train, and you're either training, sleeping, or or resting.
You're
or
back in
eating.
bed then after that as well.
Yeah, train, have your food, go back to bed.
So some athletes listen to this are going to be like, "That is awesome."
You're
So what
doing
happens
enough-
is that because I remember
Simple as that, yeah.
we had a different apartment down the road there.
That's right.
Did.
Yeah.
And you were waking up,
Yeah.
having your breakfast,
Yeah.
training,
Yeah.
and then the idea was to get put back into bed again,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
That afternoon nap is very important, especially if you're doing 2 days. Hormone levels, recovery, sleep equals recovery.
100%.
There you go, a little lap in there.
Come on,
Good morning there,
that.
Paddy. So get your sleep in to recover, get your food in to recover, and then go again. Whereas if you want about six hours minimum between the 2 sessions.
There's actually a great photo of me and you from that trip,
There is.
and it looks like I'm giving out to you.
It is,
I
but
put
you
it
weren't.
up on- I wasn't. I was like, that was brilliant. I was like, even when I'm not giving out to some of the kids, I'm talking to some of the kids and I'm giving them encouragement. Chelsea, like, you don't need to change your facial expressions. It looks like you're like bollocking some
a great
kid.
expression,
And I'm
though.
just like, you are absolutely deadly. You are a beautiful. You know what I mean?
That's what's great about photographs. It's how you interpret an image. It can be like a classic example of that is I have it in my wall in the gym. Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston. Do you know what
I
that
had
image
it in
is?
the bedroom.
Do you know what that image is about? He took a dive.
Sonny Liston?
Sonny Liston took a dive. Didn't even hit him. Took a dive for the maf. He used to work for the mafia breaking fingers.
Oh, right.
So he's a debt collector for the mafia. He used to go around breaking people's fingers and collecting money. And he was told to take a dive in a certain round. And he fell down in the Muhammad Ali.
Is there an elephant out there in the hall?
I think so. Yeah.
It sounds like, man. I'm telling you now. It's like, "Woo."
So that was him after being training for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 3 months or whatever, getting pissed off because your man didn't even give him a fight. That's what
And he
that
took
was.
a dive.
And then what was class about him was afterwards he said, he could have bitched about it. What he said was, everybody blinked at the same time. You all missed a shot. That's how fucking fast I am. All you guys with your camera, 1,000 of a second. The punch was so fast, you all blinked. You all missed it at the same time. That's the genius of Muhammad.
That is it, yeah. And it is, maybe we did.
Maybe we did.
That is how it goes. So you are fast into it now. So the next fight is on the cards. I don't even want to know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've built a very good relationship with all of us, not just Conor, with John and Roddy and Sergey and that, and it's great because there's a great communication between the team, where we'll all sit down and discuss. We'll have a plan, a general plan, but then that will vary day by day, because just because it's Tuesday is not enough to say I'm going sparring. And what's your resting heart rate?
Yeah, that's
If generally what happens is if you're overtraining, your heart rate's going to be higher in the morning. So if my heart rate is 8 to 10 beats higher in the morning, guess what? I ain't doing jack shit.
Oh.
Tuesday's not a day to dictate anything. Monday's not a day. It's not how I feel, it's how my body is. Because I can feel great, but I'm mashed. Or I can feel like shit, but I'm actually flying.
You're actually flying,
I just woke up mentally tired.
And that's a great way to think. So how Colin is using that, if you are a young lad and you're kind of figuring out like a good guide, because this is a good guide on how to kind of look after your body and not overtrain. Overtrain is probably worse than actually.
Oh, it's horrendous.
It's horrendous. Not training, you're just burning. It's like wheel burning the car and not stopping. So the idea is that if you test your heart rate every single morning,
Write it down.
Yeah, every single
take a
morning, a
diary.
little Fitbit, and then when you start to see that heart rate crawling up in beats,
Take a day off.
you need to take a day off.
Yeah.
And what you'll actually get from that then is you'll get a reduction in heart rate. So
As you get fitter, what happens is like the average pulse rate's like 72. As you get fitter, the heart becomes more efficient to pump on each beat. It's like a boom boom, more volume. Boom, to keep, because it's a sealed unit. So like an average person 72. Like my lowest used to be 36 when I was fit.
awesome.
So that means,
I had a 35.
did you have a 35?
Got a picture of it. I was in Canada at the time. I actually
Yeah.
lost the fight. Maybe it was 2. Maybe it was asleep. But I had a 35. Yeah.
35. Yeah. The other thing about it, psychologically, it's good to know that you're in good shape.
Is it a bad idea? So say if you have a low heart rate. Look, I think we have a low heart rate.
Yeah.
Naturally, does that mean you're a slow start, or is
No,
that?
it's just more efficient of doing a job, which is to pump 8 points of blood around your body.
But it has no other difference on like
To pump.
It's not, but it's not. It can't be all positive.
There is.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's just more efficient.
That-
It's like having a fucking a 1 litre engine and a fucking 2.5 litre engine. What do you want a 2.5 litre engine for?
Yeah. Get that, especially where you're living.
I tell you.
So what's next on the cards for the Ninja?
What is next on the card? Someone asked me what my 5-year plan was the other day.
Where's your 5-year plan? You don't plan for 5 years.
I used to.
5 days.
I used to, but there's a thing called Parkinson's law. Did you ever hear of Parkinson's law?
Mm.
So if I'll give you 5 months to do this job there, Paddy, or I'll give you 5 days, you'll get it done.
In either way,
Either way.
I'm the worst at that.
So if I give myself a 5-year plan, I'll tend to procrastinate.
Okay.
Which for me, even though it looks like I do a lot, I waste a lot of time, Paddy.
But you enjoy a lot of time.
I do, but I there's nothing, you can't buy my time. Like, I look at life like I'm on the back straight now of life. I'm coming up to that last bend. I'm jostling for position to come over the line first place. Whereas a lot of people, they get to an age or a part of the race where they settle or quit or drift off the back. And all you got to make up the decision then is, do I put the trousers under the belly or over the belly?
They're the only decisions that you've got to make.
And then you settle on that. Whereas I'm coming to that back straight, I'm jostling to get into that top 4, to kick off the fucking thing and come in and to get the gold. Instead of just drifting off the back.
Drifting out the back.
So I'd say, ideally, I mean, the McGregor FAST thing is doing well. We have an app coming out next week, which I'm super excited about.
Okay, I said it took a while to develop as well.
I tell you what we've done. I think we've done a good job of getting the brand out there and it being associated with Connor. And Connor's really, he wants to be the guy that brought this sort of training into MMA.
And to not just
the
ordinary jobs as
yeah,
well.
he's very
a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, because it's important that, am I doing the right thing? Yeah, because it's science based. It's data based. It's not just, bro science.
Yeah.
So I think I see that doing well, and we're going to start. We used to have a thing where it was just like very niche, as in like an MMA fighter that wants to supplement his training with cardio. You do this. But what we found was a lot of people aren't MMA fighters, or they just want to, will I lose weight?
Yeah.
So now what we're
Just
going to
get
do
fit.
is we're going to have it as a soul-based training system. So I'm just training McGregor FAST. Instead of I train a bit of boxing or a bit of football and I do the program for 12 weeks because of an event coming up. Well, let's have that as your main training system, where it'll get you in shape. We'll send you an email every day, tell you what to do, tell you what zone to be in. Because I think what separates us from everybody else is we have this anaerobic threshold test, and it'll be on the app, where you get on, you go on a treadmill, and every half kilometre an hour you increase your
Paul Doyle
speed.
put me through this.
Yeah,
as well. This is
and
it.
what happens is your heart rate increases, and then it flatlines, and then it goes up. And where it flatlines is your anaerobic threshold, and that's where you're starting to produce too much lactic acid. And
But you can't get rid of it, is
can't
it?
get rid of it, and you can play with that. And especially for performance-based guys, you can play with that, and you can have. Then we zone it out, green and orange and red. We do the zones. So on any given day, you'll get an email to say, today you can train this, and this in this zone. Here's the supplements you take. Here's what to eat. Off you go. And a lot of people were kind of looking for that. Plus, we'll also have the great athletes like Connor or other athletes that we look after as well in many different sports. But I think we want to bring it to the masses, because there's a lot of misinformation, trend. Everyone's doing this like carnivore diet now. You know what I mean? That's trendy for a while, or they're doing paleo, or they're doing whatever. But instead of experimenting ourselves over 2 years, and that's what most of those things are, because there's not any data on it. Let's go with something that's got tons of data that's proven to work, that every top athlete uses, and bring it to the masses. Create, so you're not overtraining, you're not killing yourself, but you still get an optimum performance out of yourself.
What do you need? Because people need to live life as well.
Well, if you're, there's no difference between the mind and the body. Like, if your body's in shape, your mind's going to be in shape. If you're a sloppy mess, your brain's going to be a sloppy mess.
How do you feel Khabib can go?
I like that fight.
I like the fight too.
I like that fight. I think it's there's a couple of ways I see it going. I see one that factors into it. Khabib doesn't realise what it's like to be in a corner fight. No one does. It's another level. Just get into the fight. But he's too arrogant with his forward pressure. He's too arrogant with his chin up. He's too arrogant coming forward, where he thinks he's immortal because he's never been tested. His chin hasn't been tested because maybe he's an intimidating character to other people. But now you've met a guy who's a more intimidating character than yourself, who performs under pressure on any given day to his best of his ability. I don't know how he does that, but he does it. And with all the stuff that we did for the Mayweather fight, how good is his striking now?
Awesome.
Unreal.
Like even in the Mayweather fight, some of the shots he was landing was fucking big.
You put that in a guy that's got sloppy striking, 50% of the takedown percentage. Okay, he gets you down. He's a smothering blanket. He doesn't finish anybody. He kind of gassed early in that last fight. Who did he fight in the last fight?
Eloquente.
Yeah. And he just like there's a guy who's there's a guy who's like, you know, a car salesman, right? He sells houses as a full-time job. Got in on last minute notice because nobody else would do it, and
in 5 rounds.
Done 5 rounds, but made him look very amateurish.
Okay. I think that what you're saying there is I definitely don't think it's Conor's hardest opponent. I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. No, I think there's much harder fights out there than that.
100%. And the like even say Chad Mendes a little bit smaller, a little bit thing. People will be like, "I am mad."
I think Chad's a better wrestler,
and he has the idea of closing the distance and linking the shot.
He's
and
fast.
It's like
Yeah, he's an explosive 60-meter sprinter.
Where you can see like even the idea of shooting in on like low singles and stuff like that. The last time, like if you look at Jose Aldo, even Jose Aldo has that fast entry, and he didn't get 2 seconds to be able to move. You know what I mean? In Conor seen it.
I could see it being.
You could see that Aldo was going to step forward. That it wasn't like going to be a slide. It wasn't going to be a skip.
And you've sparred from Paddy. It's only like there's these little things that you can't see, but you can only feel.
Yeah.
It's like invisible jiu-jitsu. When you're standing in front of him, the confusion of he robs the space on you. And you never settle.
Not your thoughts.
Robs everything on it. It's very intimidating, and like I've never met anybody like him. And I've trained with a lot of people, especially having the gym in Portugal. People come in and it's a very unusual. And if you've never felt it, it becomes quite shocking. And I think when he hits him first, because he will hit him, if he doesn't spark him on the first one, he'll put such a fear into him that it'll change his demeanour. Yeah. And then it'll come. If he takes him down, he'll just get back up again.
This is what I was thinking as well. And Khabib's going to be getting threatened with submissions as well, I'd say. And it's not going to be like Conor's like a cat. You know what I mean? To try to take down as well.
And he believes it.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean? That's the belief is a huge thing. There's no doubt there.
Zero. If you had 1% doubt and 99% belief, when your ass hits that mat, that will swap.
He's the slackliner with no safety.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
That's it. But
the confidence in that, you know, the movement, the understanding timing and distance, and I look at it like a katana versus a crude chopped up fucking orange sword that someone put together in their fucking bedroom.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
You know, a fine, beautifully crafted art piece that's more valuable than their soul in samurai culture against some crude caveman fucking Viking sword. And I look at it as those two things, and I just see it as the finesse will win. I'd like to see it like be it a masterclass, but I don't think it'll go that far.
You know what? I don't think it's going to go that far. Yeah. Like I could see the idea of Khabib coming in and underestimating even the length of Conor's hands, and all of a sudden he's getting hit from a spot where he's like, shit.
So you think you're safe, and then it's like hitting you, and then or he's grabbing your wrist, or you know, like just like confusion. He's switching stance and like, oh shit, my foot's not on the outside anymore.
And he has showed for probably all of his fights what he brings to the table. And the worst thing you could probably tell Conor and give him 8 weeks for is, there's a style, there's the way he moves. and you study
And
that.
it is only one dimensional. Like Tony Ferguson's a lot more dimensional. But if you look at Khabib, it's very crude, very ordinary. But he's good at it.
Isn't that it? The
But he's
man
not,
is
but also he's no Olympic wrestler.
no,
That's the other thing, if you know what I mean.
no, I don't think
He's not that level. But in MMA, because he's good at that one thing, you know. Plus, I don't think the people he's beaten are that caliber that Connor's beaten.
at Connor's level.
I don't think so. If you look at who he's beaten. I mean,
Johnson rattled him, wasn't it?
Johnson rattled him. I spoke to Johnson after that fight, and he said he never felt anyone so heavy on him in all of his life.
Do you know what I think? Khabib does that very well, and he'll give him that. He has that wet blanket on a
Very
basketball
heavy,
pressure.
very
you know
heavy
what I mean?
pressure.
Like,
Yeah.
smudgery. But I think most of the time it's like some quicksand with guys like that as
Yeah.
well. If you wriggle, it probably gets worse because it keeps it there as well.
Yeah.
So the idea is like tying someone up in MMA and then untying you up is hard as well.
I think it's an exciting. I think everyone wants to see it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then afterwards, it'll be the same excuse.
And you know what? You have to give props to Conor on it because, like,
He doesn't need to take the fight.
that's it. No motherfucker needs to be going in there
No.
fighting. He doesn't need it.
No.
He doesn't need it.
But
Like,
that's who he is.
No one to prove that. That is who he is.
Yeah.
And if it's not a challenge, it's not. If it's not a challenge, it's not.
I mean, that's
not
who
worthy.
your true self is. You know.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
sure. You'd be a long time dead.
well, there's a thing in Buddhism. Not that I'm a Buddhist.
I don't know
Or is it in the
about
back of the
Buddhism,
Gita? Yeah, it's kind of like the meditation of who am I? Who am I? Because you're different people to different people. Different to your mother, to your girlfriend, to your dog, to your son, to your enemy. You're a different character, but who is the true self? So the meditation is who am I? Who am I? Then the next meditation is who is it that is saying who am I?
Who said that?
So what I'm saying,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, like, who was he?
but to find your authentic self in all of this, for most people, they never do. He truly is a martial artist. That is his authentic self. And most people never find, they live a lie, or they live a fantasy, or an Instagram filter, but that's not truly who they are.
They don't live in understanding.
Of themselves. And when you do understand who you really are, then you're a lot more settled
And happy.
and happy, instead of chasing something that it's not really.
And the weird thing is about that I hate to say the word ordinary people, but I mean, like, they say the percentage of people that do the same thing like that decide to go to a 9-to-5 job, decide to do these kind of things, it's like the part of that head cannot comprehend how that other person can do that. And they're the people that I find are the ones that are like, oh, you're a fucking idiot, or why would you do this, or why would you do that? Because they haven't kind of got that little bit of a growth in their head, or that thing
They're
to be
comfortable.
like, I can.
Yeah.
I could do it. I can do it. You know.
They
what I
never
mean?
push themselves in
No.
any form. They're comfortable. They buy a silver car. They get a job. They meet a girl on the Christmas party. They go out for 6 months. They get engaged because it's the only thing available.
Buy a house.
They
Have a
buy
kid.
a house, silver car, semi-detached, listen to 98 FM, and that's it. They cruise on in, go up to the fucking supermarket on a Sunday and go into the Blanche and buy your few bits and pieces, and you carry on that way. And you're never being pushed. It's just comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
And there's a friend of mine, Jody Kennedy. He's a good guy. He used to do ninjutsu with me, but he's kind of found his own way of training. And he's brought out this thing called man training.
Man trying.
Only for men, where you go out and you sit in cold water, you jump off a cliff, you do a bit of breathing, you know, to be a little bit more, because I think men need time with men and women need time with women.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just to kind of like make yourself a little bit uncomfortable, because truly inside you is a Viking warrior. Do you know what I mean? That's why you probably did MMA in the first place, but lucky enough that you found that instead of something else. And I think people need to find something that is uncomfortable in order to find themselves.
100, and I say it over and over and over again. Jiu-jitsu is one of is the pill for extracting your ego, and it does a lot of the stuff that I think meditation and a lot of all other. I've talked to guys about meditation and all of this stuff.
But it is meditation.
It extracts your ego.
Do you know what
and I'm like,
meditation is?
being in the
nutshell.
moment.
No, not thinking.
Not thinking. But
Yeah. So, like, for instance, if you meditate maybe an hour and it feels like 10 minutes, well, then you lost 50. So then you're meditating for 50. But movement meditation, jiu-jitsu is exactly the same thing. I think people confuse it with sitting in a lotus and closing their eyes and chanting ohms at 480 kilohertz.
I've been doing it wrong.
You know, so I think whether whatever that is, whether it's hitting the ball, playing golf, whether it's riding a bike, whether it's doing jiu-jitsu, whatever makes you just lose time.
Smoking a bong.
Smoking a bong. Whatever makes you lose time.
Whatever you do.
Yeah, is meditation. And then you have to start looking for within. It's no point in just getting there and then not having the epiphanies afterwards. It's afterwards kind of bringing yourself to where you were, trying to think about, you know, where am I going? How am I to this person? How am I to that person? Am I a good person? Am I a bad person? Who am I? And to find out who you are, find out who you are not.
And do you find that a lot of people do that thinking, but they actually they sabotage themselves with that thinking?
I'll give an example. The best guy in my gym is a guy that came to me, doesn't fight, fought maybe once or twice, but he's my star pupil. Not the guy that won the belt, but the guy that came from a shitty situation, came down to me, did a few privates. I introduced him to the general population after. I don't do privates too much because...
I hate this as well. I'm going to ask you about this.
Yeah,
You don't let people join your gym, don't you?
No, I don't.
He doesn't let people join his gym.
No, you knock them back.
Come back next week.
Well, he was he's now become a guy who got wife, 3 kids, set up a little business for himself, changed his whole life around, and that was from the jiu-jitsu.
Darn.
Because that gave him that spot that cleared all the bullshit that he walked in with, that ego, because it got checked. Didn't like getting tapped,
Yeah.
but he came back. Didn't like getting tapped, but he came back.
Came back.
And he finally stopped. It's like running with a fish. That tuna we caught the other day, that ran for 2 hours, that fucking fish. You had to let it run. But eventually it gave up. And then it became ours. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So with the
yeah,
jiu-jitsu,
yeah.
you can go down and get... I've had guys come down and get schoolboy girls.
Yeah.
That's a hard
that
one
was
if
my
you always thought
experience.
you were the man.
That was my experience.
But if you come back, you're a better man.
100%.
And I think with him, he's my favourite student.
Yeah.
Because, not my favourite student, but one of my examples of what martial arts is about. You know, though the other thing as well, like I say, to join my gym, I knock everybody back. Because I used to work doors in Dublin. So when you come to the door in my nightclub or gym, say, not tonight. Come back next week. And if you come back next week, come back next month. If you come back next month, see you in September. And if you come back then, well, maybe we'll let you.
Good.
Let you try.
You one of them, Norman?
Yeah.
You.
No, but I wasn't. On the door I wasn't. On the door I wasn't.
Everyone's sitting here going, turn that podcast off. That was good.
I used to work in Cocoon, and Saturday night, me and the guy that I used to work with used to dress up, and we'd make a queue. And we'd fill it with girls. And then we'd pick people out of the queue. And it became an event. If you know what I mean.
You bastard.
No, but if you were there every week, you were there every week.
of
Nobody else
course.
got in because it kept for never a fight. Never a fight.
Same guys, same thing.
Same guy, everyone's happy to get in, you know. So with me and training is, for me, it's like training's not, it's my man shed. It's too good to just give to everybody. I'm not that type of person. Maybe I was at the start and then I realised that's not the way to go. I can't be giving of myself to everybody. Only a selective few. I'm too good for that because all it'll do is take from me. I can't go fix the world because I can't. But I can fix 2 or 3 or 4 people that can fix 2 or 3 or 4 people, and so on and so forth.
Do you feel like when you were a little bit younger that you had that? Because maybe I'm at that. I think I'm at that now. No, not at that. Like
I wanted to go to Africa and,
I've got loads of it.
and work starving babies and all that. And then here's what you got to realise. Why are you doing that?
Because there's a lot of people not doing it, Colin. There's just a lot of people and a lot of shit going on. When I talked about it, and as he said, like the last little while, people I had Brian Moore on last week, and he said, "Oh yeah, you're not like," and he didn't mean this in a bad way.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not saying this in a bad way, Brian, but it did register. And he did say, "Oh yeah, you're mad into all that Palestine stuff and all that, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, when I went home thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, well I'm not. I'm just. Everyone should have, and then when I couldn't explain to him about some of the stuff and some of the stories that go on, he's like, hold on, and you can see that because Brian would be a guy that would be for people and for the good of humanity, if you must, you know what I mean? And like, as I said, a lot of people don't understand a lot of the stuff that goes on, and that's not by choice. Some people start like throw muck in the water, like as you were saying, and then all of a sudden it's, I'm not even looking in there. You know what I mean? It's too crazy. Yeah. So it's like
I think when I stopped riding the bike, that hole was there. It's probably you've finished fighting, so there's a hole there.
Maybe that's what it is then.
And I was trying to fill that hole with whatever. I filled it with partying for a while. That was empty. And then I looked at, maybe at the time there was a famine crisis in Africa, and I'd been to Africa. I raced for a team in Senegal, Dakar, with Julian for about 3 years. Really? And I thought I'd go there. And then there was an interesting one I saw one time. There was Dakar is a Muslim country, and we were walking down the street with the manager of the bike team, and there was a beggar, and he gave the beggar some money. And an interesting thing he said to me was, Allah sees him giving the money to the beggar, and it's good for him, not for the beggar. The beggar's there as a pawn. And then I questioned, why do I give stuff to somebody? Is it for me or is it for them? And the same with the African thing. Why was I going to fix the world? Is it for me or is it for them? And you'll find a lot of the time it's for you, not for them. They're just part of the equation. And that's why I bring it back to, that's more about me than it is about them. So if it's a one-to-one, it's about me and you. It's more of a personal thing.
If people see progress, do you not see that is like people see progress in the vet, like as they say, work, like, but then nothing would have ever been done.
No,
when you think of like people like Nelson Mandela,
no, I mean that's just a different platform.
Like,
I mean,
say even someone like Bobby Sands.
Huge. Like I remember when Bobby Sands died.
That's like,
and they had like black flags, and that's a huge part of our culture. Like there's a man. What age was he? 21
21 or 2 or something. Robin's on it.
He was a young man.
21 or 2. No, he was 20. He was more 26.
No, he was young, very young.
26 or something.
China.
But even there, I'm saying that you could imagine them. So when we're talking about that, there you're saying like, for yourself, and how do we bridge the gap, and how did other people that are greats in the world, like in
well, I think it's a stage they're on, Paddy. I mean, for instance, like Connor's on a big stage and can do a big thing if he wanted to. But
he does huge things.
And he does huge things that people don't know about. But on another level, if I go to Rhodesia or some other place where there's a conflict or somewhere, and I go in as a helper trying to fix an already broken situation, I'll just get frustrated. In a sense. So,
yeah, this is what I feel.
So the platform that I'm on at the time, the best for me to be done at would be on a smaller basis, and those will knock on and it spreads out that way, instead of me going in at the bottom trying to be heard and the system is already done. You ain't going to change it, if you know what I mean. And all you're doing is frustrating yourself.
To me, I think the system wins then, because it's like, sound, he gave up.
No,
do you get what I mean?
I do, but I'm just saying, if you go in on a certain level, eventually it'll always ripple out. Sometimes it's not the best thing to barge in and try and hit a wall. Sometimes it's better to take it down brick by brick.
So, like, say for a mad stance, right? Say if 25 highly famous, 25 of the highest followers, say on Instagram, like wrote a piece at the same time about what's going on in a place in the world. Say what's going on with that Catholic Church cover up, or what's going on with, say, Palestine, or what's going on with the bombing of Syria, or so, all of these things that are going on in all these different places. The idea of like making sure that Muslim people are seen as bad people, making like if 20 people at a time came out in youth, I know for a fact that ripple effect would be an ocean's effect,
because they have that platform. But someone with
the risk
200 followers isn't going to get that.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Of course. This is what I'm saying. So it is.
But what he might be able to do is chat to some guy that he met somewhere that had dogmatic views on things, and he educated them, and then he went on. In a sense,
sorry, because here's a great app. One of the guys from Apollo House, his name's Dean Scully.
Yeah.
Right, and he's an amazing man. He slept out on the streets with his father on last Saturday, so he's a great man, right?
Yeah.
But he's after creating an app. I can't remember the name of the app, But I'm gonna have it up because I'm gonna help him with it. But if you buy something online, I think he said 500 billion is spent online a year, and if you buy something online and you register with this app, 5% of it goes to eradicating homelessness. So in 2 or 3 years, like that's 500 million. 5% of
It's
it.
a big issue here now,
Big,
isn't it?
huge, man. Colin,
It's very
because I know
sad
you've
to
been
see.
here, and you know what
Yeah.
the sad thing is, Colin, because and say you'll say this again, I'd probably get a message or two. Someone will say like, I get hundreds of lovely messages, and you know what? Anyone that sends me a message or puts it on the story or props up the podcast, fair blame play to you because we're not making dough here doing this now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do something that if someone says to me, how do I cut weight? What's that McGregor FAST program thing about? There's a way of just pointing it towards them, and it saves me a lot of time.
Sure.
But the idea of being able to push something like that and help a big cause like homelessness. Now you've got people that are not drug addicts and not alcoholics, Colin, and they're on the street. You know what I mean? You've got mothers that are losing homes that they're renting in, like say they get rent allowance, and all of a sudden they lose the rent allowance, or say they get a boyfriend while they're on rent allowance, they're not able to be with somebody because, and then they do when they go into the house, and then they lose the house because of that or something, and they end up in homelessness. Oh well, you shouldn't have been. We're all just fucking humans.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? We're all just
Yeah.
trying to live and have a roof over our head. And these are the people that are ending up homelessness. And now, your man Dean told me as well is that 15,000 mortgages just got sold to vulture funds, right, last week. So what this tells, and he says, and it's going to happen again, I guarantee you, Christmas is going to have a huge wave of homeless. So that means 15,000 people, if you half them, say 7,500 people sorted out, and there's a good chance 7,500 people are not going to be able to sort it out and not have families to go to. So you're going to have another 7,500 people falling in. So it's already premeditated in the way of, like, if that's happening to people's homes and there's covers up on child abuse and there's like, I know that one people can't stand up and say something, but then something inside me says, oh fucking you can, you know what I mean? Or you can hold on, let's put it across that it's not this crate when you're into that mad shit out there. And all of a sudden you can make a little bit of noise on it. Like Messi wouldn't play against Israel, and like that's an incredible stand to make.
That is a great stand.
To me, I was always between him and Ronaldo.
Right. After
Ronaldo
that.
does great things, but Messi just but to do something like that as a global player and put yourself on the stage and that. But I think it goes so far when you have so much money after a little while. There is nothing more that you could buy and do and stuff like that, and like they're humanitarian things to be able to be due to somebody, and no one can do it. You can't do it with money because usually the guys, especially the guys that haven't made money with sports and other stuff, the money that they've made, they can't say anything because it's probably connected to something that makes the house of cards fall down, and you don't want to be saying something about somebody because maybe down the road that pharmaceutical company helped you, or that agency that. You don't want to be, oh, here there's loads of paedophiles in there, but they helped me, I'm not going to start talking about them. But I think I'm in a place now where I have the gym and I have my life and I, as you said, I've kind of found out my purpose and who I am, and when you get that, it's different than where I'm kind of in a position where
You can start to
maybe I could
help out a little bit.
maybe because I don't have, like, I'm not out there like trying to please people and like put a face on and be this and be that. Maybe you can't just say something and then people start going, Jesus, he's mad, or what he's saying there, he shouldn't be saying that. And that's what people, I see people getting messages and saying to me, like, you shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Like, we're talking about people not getting shot in the face, man. Yeah, but you can't be saying that.
But I think what's good about nowadays is you don't need to be invited onto the Late Late Show. You can just do your own thing
100%.
and have a voice. And like, you have a lot of influence in this town. You're a local hero, Paddy.
It's a local town.
And
A local town.
But everyone needs a leader. The only reason I'm saying like Africa is like no one knows who you are there in a sense. Whereas
you're right.
on a local level, you'd have a lot more influence than I would.
Yeah.
Because you're that guy that people will look up to, saying he came from what I came from. He went through the same path as me, but do you know what? He fucking made it. He got out the other end smelling of roses. Yeah, wiggled a little bit, but he still got
Shit
there.
myself a few times.
He still got there, and it's possible. I can do it, and it gives people, it gives me a purpose to get out of bed. Winning that first battle in the morning, get up out of bed, and with now that you've settled, not settled, but
No,
you've
you're
been
right.
swimming
Well, I've turned the corner in the
and you've
river.
stopped.
And yeah.
and you've kind of like, now I can look back and see what I've done or where I've got. How far have I got here? What's the gap like, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. And now you can start kind of using your influence to help people that are in a bad situation, no fault of their own, because they were sold down the Swanee River of, why don't you buy a house?
Yeah.
That was the worst thing I ever did in my life, buy a house.
Oh, yeah.
I'm enslaved to a guy in a cheap suit in a glass box office telling me what's what.
And the bad thing is, they want you to fail, in a way. Like they, if you look at the numbers and you do the maths and something like that, you'll never make it.
No, whereas it was always like, get a girl, get a wife, get a job, buy a house, get a house now. And then, I don't want any of that. I don't want to have anything. I'm just that. And the man has me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's your equity, or that's whatever it is. But for most people, when you take that away, it's devastation. If I lost my house tomorrow, I wouldn't give a fuck. Generally, well, you wouldn't. No, just whatever. I'd sleep in the
What's
gym.
housing like, crisis like in Portugal? Crisis.
Well-
See, I don't even know how to say housing without crisis because it's just been so long over here.
Sure, I mean, where I'm, Algarve is very different to Portugal because it's a holiday place. So the only people that bought there would have been English and Irish. So when things fell here, things fell there. It's exactly the same because the only people that are buying are, the landlord type guy with his property portfolio and the golf and all that kind of stuff. So that the prices dropped. But now it's like everything else here. The prices go back up again and the prices drop. Interesting fact, the way people say, oh, things won't change, things won't do this. My father, when he bought his house in Crumlin, the interest rate was 17.5%.
That's mad.
That's a credit card.
Yeah. That's like
So
mad.
if you don't think it's ever going to go up again, if you want to know the future, look at the past.
But they say we watched a few things, and they said that the idea of like a crash has to be created to re-blow the bubble.
Yeah, it
But look
goes.
at, yeah, and again, this bubble's blowing faster.
How long are you on?
What?
How long are you on?
Not that one. No. It's me watching on the other hand. It's on the other hand. You're freckles.
Alright.
That's the freckles. I was saying that the idea of like the bubble's gonna burst again. Well, the bubble goes up again, and you can definitely see
It
it.
does. I mean, like for instance, like my father was in the building game. Like he was a painter, and I was a painter. But in his lifetime, he saw 2 big rises and 2 big crashes. And in my lifetime, I'll see 2 big rises and 2 big crashes, and that's just the way it is in the economic situation that we live in. Lend them money, enslave them with a little car or a mortgage, charge them much more than he ever paid for it, and get him on for 30 years.
There's houses in Newbridge now, just standard houses, 300 grand,
Just standing there.
just standard like living like just outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how is anyone getting? Are they giving mortgages now?
If you do everything in your whole power and give us everything you own and your firstborn,
Right.
it's kind of one of these things. Like,
And
you know
sign
what I
in
mean?
for 40 years.
Yeah, and sign for 40 years.
Yeah.
And like one of me, 2 of my 3 of my friends at the buying one, getting mortgages now, and it's like I'm doing the maths in my head, and I'm like how do you understand in the next 20 years you are definitely going to lose your job, and you are definitely going to have a bad time, and you're definitely not going to be able to. Oh no, it won't happen to me. But that's the way you have to go into it, and it's like you have to plan for the storms because there's definitely going to be a storm, and the good chance is you'll win. You could do it for 15 years, and then all of a sudden the storm is for 5 years, and then 15 years mean nothing because they'll
You're
just
just paying interest.
yeah, and all of a sudden they'd be like, how much? Well, at least I paid that on my house. You'd be surprised to see the amount of number that you actually
Very
paid
little
off your
off.
house,
Very
and
little off.
and the cash pile that your actual house is worth is probably just a digit on a computer on the screen. Like
But the other alternative is renting, and renting is horrendous at the moment. And I
Because
think
it-
something should be done about that.
they did it should be half the rent. That
Yeah.
there's no way you should be paying a mortgage to rent. That's impossible. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? 'Cause if you're in Ireland and you're renting, you should be saying, well, rent because it's half of what a mortgage would be to own it. There's no way you should be paying and knowing what you're paying is actually the price to own it. You
And
know
the
what I mean?
rest. Like if you look at other countries in Europe that aren't get a house base, like rental base, like Holland or any of these places where most people don't buy a house, they just rent.
They rent.
But you get a 5-year or a 10-year or a 20-year lease, and your rent is small.
It's set.
So whereas here people are forced because I don't want it dead money. I'm paying as much. I'm paying more than a mortgage, so I need to get a mortgage, and you're forced into that instead of I think at some stage I don't ever see it happening, but the rent needs to be controlled with the government, as in this is the amount you can rent out for, so it doesn't have all those people with 3, 4, 5, 6 gaffs, those little slumlords, controlling.
Do you know why they won't put a cap on it?
Because they're in the government, aren't they?
25% of the government is landlords.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
yeah.
if you and then there we go again, as I said, people trying to stand up against stuff.
It's hard when
it's very easy when you do it on your own. So say if somebody stood up in the Dáil tomorrow and starts going like blah blah blah, you'll probably see it on Facebook. You'll probably see it going on about the house. This is what we should do and speak sense. You'll probably never see him again. Do you get what I mean? Because in the way they figured out a way of getting people out of the way. You know what I mean? And especially like, as I said, if 20 stood up at the same time from all different parties and all said, listen, we just need to get rid of everything else, but fix this. We need to fix the homelessness part. We need to do this. We need to make sure the rents are not this. We need to 20 people. Even the boys that own the houses would shut their fucking mouths. But if one person stands up and says it,
but it comes down to
you own a house. You own a house. Do you get what I'm saying?
But it comes down to conformity to rules, Paddy. And like I say, since I've been away, I've seen the small little rules being snuck in, and people are just doing them. Then it's very hard to, when you divide and conquer like that, it's very hard for people to get together again. Divide
and conquer is a huge thing, and a lot of organisations and companies still use that divide and conquer. It's a classic, yeah.
It works.
But and you know what? But it's the snakiest, weirdest one of them all. Do you know why? Because it means that you wouldn't stand in front of a group full of people and say the same fucking thing.
Of course you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
You'd take them on the side, and not only that, you'll tell everyone else that everyone else has different ideas.
And I think
that's how it works. Sorry.
I think social media needs to, when it settles, like now it's just filters and Pringles lips with chicks, right? But when it settles, I think it could be used as a more productive tool instead of a falseness, as in like some sort of collaborative for people, honest people, to get together to make a proper change instead of having some fake filter on it. 15 times posed photograph.
I seen a great video of Run DMC yesterday.
Right.
And he talks about what rap was made for, what hip hop was made.
Right.
He said, and what he's doing, he's out there talking about lean and smoking weed and doing this. He said, when we started, we were on and we were supporting for rock groups and disco groups. He said, because what we were doing, we were a representation of our genre together. Yeah. He said, and now you've got people, and it's about 10-minute long video, and it's brilliant what he says. He says, I talk about, he says in one of his lines, he says, like, I went to college and I got this and I got this and I finished my degree. Yeah. And he says, like, wow, he said there's one time I have a pair of runners in a video and I'm spinning them around and stuff like that. And he said, like, I'm marketing, I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm marketing runners because I'm going to make money off these and people are actually going to buy runners and have them and stuff like that. And then he said, now you've got guys in that video, he said, after the amount of people that have died, nothing happened after it. He said, you've got them talking about, like, they're drinking lean, they're doing Xanax, they're doing Valiums, they're doing...
They're not role models.
No, and the thing is, the reason why they're probably getting pushed out there because a lot of the stuff that they're doing is like, these pharmaceuticals in one way, if you think of it, like is a huge market, and they're like, these guys are going to come on and represent pharmaceuticals. Do you know what I'm saying? Where he says the same thing, and if one of us, we need a kid, so we need this kid that comes out and says, yeah, I went to school. Yeah, I finished my shit because they told me I wasn't going. More people like say Kendrick Lamar or something goes on. It's a really, really good video. When he says what you had to say there, that all of this attention and all, he said, right now, he says, there's never been more people looking at hip hop or looking at everything else. He said, the reason why the world seems so bad is because there's actually more ways of looking at the world and further to looking at it. You know, like I can look at the street you live on now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said, well, you couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
He said, so now, he said, all the eyes are on, and it's the shittest it's ever been.
I'd agree with that. I mean, it's just, I think it's a growing up time, because even with people on the internet that are negative, if you meet them in real life, they're generally not like that. So it's almost like a different entity in itself, where it's just like spewing out all this like shit. You know what I mean? Instead of like, there's very little positivity in it. There is certain positivities, but there's an awful lot of shit, an awful lot of noise. And in the noise, sometimes it's too much and you miss the the golden stuff, you know. It's like the hen standing on the diamond under the muck, and he's mine.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
show any to anybody else, you know.
Yeah.
It's, I think, I would like to think that, you know, justice will prevail. I'd like to think that good will prevail from evil, as we're always taught. And I'd like to think that social media, because of its, everyone has it, that it could be a more of a positive outlet instead of a plastic surface fickle bullshit.
And this is what it is, you know. And even some of the words you see people using it, like if you read that, mate, that's an American accent. That's like if you read that, it can't be Irish, it can't be English, it can't be Scottish, it can't be, like, people, and they don't even talk, and it goes to show what they do as they do. Is it?
I think so. It's I'm enjoying the process of watching things, and for me it's like it's given me the opportunity to kind of put stuff out as well. It's given you the opportunity. So, and the likes of Rogan and guys like that have made you listen to people that you wouldn't have ever heard of before, and then you kind of go off and drift into them, like, you know, quantum physics, or, you know, where it's like, you know, where do we start now, you know? So
never would have that, yeah.
I think if you're smart, not that if you're smart, if there's, you're kind of sum total of who you hang out with. So if you look at me, I grew up in Crumlin. You know, when I was 19, I was going to get married and with a girl around the corner and just go to the local pub and play football. But I met Julian, who had a very different way of looking at things, and I lived with him, and that reset me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people don't really get that opportunity, if you know what I mean. So say kids growing up now and everything's based on likes. How many likes you got on your Instagram? Whereas if they're in that little group, they're never going to think outside the box. It's just keeping up with the Joneses. Whereas eventually if they look for something good, or they find something by good, or come to your gym and meet different people, you know, spread out a little bit, then they might start to see better things that are available, because there is great stuff available, like educationally wise, like podcasts or videos or mentors, and then aspire to be good instead of average,
Yes. So
or a sheep.
it's probably that, as I said, right now in the world, it's probably the biggest and the best time for people being able to access information and view things and all this, when a huge part of the generation is like it's like, look at all the beautiful stuff over here, now I'm looking at the field. And they just won't look away from the field or something, you know. They just keep.
But your parents probably said that about you, and their parents probably said that about them.
You know what's mad? I only said this last night. My mum would have probably had very little, parent-wise,
Yeah.
I would have had very little influence as who I am now.
Right.
Like, sometimes I look around at my family and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know who I am, Colin.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, out of my family, that's for sure. But I know for the fact that, like, at a very young age, I was introduced to heroes and Irish heroes and world heroes and people like Tom Crean and people.
Who was your first hero?
Padraig Pearse.
Right.
Probably would have been, because it was named after him. So
Right.
it was executed. I wasn't. He was.
Right.
On the same day, same anniversary that I was born, the 3rd of May. He was the first rebel. And I remember being captivated by that, and then captivated by some of the speeches that he made and stuff like that. And then I had a book of speeches years, like, when I was a kid. I remember reading speeches from Mandela, and like, I had a dream and all. Now, I'm not saying I sat down, I was in a library with me.
Right.
Sitting there, bar down me nut, flaking through some stuff, you know what I mean? And then some of the stuff, you're like, there was a war and such, and then this thing was like, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know? And that's kind of what happened to me. And then at about, I think it was about 16 or 17 years of age, I found Tom Crean. Tom Crean, like, as a hero, became like someone that I literally just engulfed everything that he was about and what he represented. And he represented the idea of, like, I live in the Antarctic, you know what I mean? I don't need anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a biscuit and a bit of penguin stew, you know what I mean? You're doing all right. And it was all about, like, we don't even die if we don't even mind if we die getting to the South Pole. We just want to know that our names and Ireland's flag was part of it, and that I'm the first man to have an Irish flag this far to the south. Like,
and then he opened the pub in Kerry and said nothing.
And then opened the pub in Kerry and said nothing. Like, and that had to, like, I've been like, fucking shut up, Tom Crean. That, how do you do that? How do you go to the Antarctic and tell nobody? That's just so hard.
Well, what are you telling people, if you know what I mean? And I suppose there's a guy who's probably found out who he really is, right?
Yes, there you go.
And it's kind of like, you know, that there's a famous saying in one of the Japanese books. I think it's Tokukuru, and it's when a guy starts martial arts, he thinks he knows everything.
Yeah.
And when a guy becomes a master, it looks like he knows nothing.
He realizes.
Yeah, but he knows everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that thing. Whereas he was probably so content in his own stories that he didn't actually need to share them with anybody else.
Yeah, and that is a good way. And here is it that I would love to have that thought of it. But then I think I could see him with a few Guinnesses in and talking.
I'd say he did in a local thing.
His brother was in the Navy, and the RIC, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, which would have been the British police force at the time, shot him dead because he was. Oh, sorry, other way around.
Right.
The IRA at the time, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, or the Fenian Army, don't know who it was, Fenian men, found out that he was part of the Navy thing, and they shot him. And Tom knew that was a warning, that if he had told anybody that he was in the British Navy and he was living in Cork at the same time, that he would have been killed.
That was probably more to do with it.
And no one found out. That's why, and it was a sly dig, he said, as opening the South Pole, because no one could ever tell why he opened the South Pole.
Right, that makes more sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because
I'd be waffling on about forever.
I was like, because it couldn't have me for ages. Like, why didn't he talk about it?
Yeah.
Why didn't he say anything about it?
It's a British
and
thing.
it turned out to be that so when they were on Elephant Island trying to escape at that time, trying to get back, the 1916 rebellion was happening.
Right. And he probably would have been involved
on
in that.
Easter. Most definitely he would have been involved, I'd say. He was just looking for a way in life, and he would have been he was on no sides. Wasn't on the British side, wasn't on the Irish side. He was just on the humanity side. You know what I mean? Of like Protestants, Catholics, it didn't matter to him.
You had
The
to pick a
cows in the
side
field,
then.
are the potatoes in the field? Are we eating? Are we free? Sound. Let's live on.
Mad life.
Colin,
Yes,
it's an
sir.
absolute fucking pleasure. Thank you for
Thank you,
being
Paddy.
on. That was episode 40 of No Shame. You can download it on iTunes. You can catch it on the Lemur app if you follow Paddy Holohan. Download the Lemur app. Follow my profile. It's easy to listen to them because you can browse along. You can be on social media while you're listening to it. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. What else are we on?
It's everywhere really. Spotify, YouTube. Where do you listen to it?
Google Podcast.
Google Podcasts as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few of them on because I do get a message. Where can I listen to your podcast? And you're like, come on now, come on.
On your phone.
Come on, I've made it easy.
Google it.
I've made it easy for you. But thanks for listening. Like, subscribe. It's good for you. Thanks.